Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here at PUBG Online. We've got a few changes tonight, as you may have noticed. First of all, we're looking at this incredibly large pole just outside of Milta Power. But secondly, you'll also notice that we are not actually going to be starting off with a desk today. We have so many people currently who are going to PGL, have done some fantastic work and grinded so hard to be there. So best of luck to them this week, but they will not be available for us this evening. As a result, we have the usual beautiful man who's usually on the desk himself, Jabroni Mac, here on the cast with myself.
Yeah, Dudge, it's an interesting day. It's a great day that I get to actually join on the cast. I'm excited. I've missed this. You know, we used to do it all the time. I used to be on the cast when I was still at home, but now that I'm here, desk. But, hey, the games are here. We got 4 great EU games, Week 5, day number 2, and I have to tell you, man, we got some great teams in this lobby.
Dude, this lobby is stacked beyond belief. Just going through the list at the second, pulling out some of the bigger names. Vitality, a last-minute addition to the lobby, going alongside the likes of Ninjas in Pajamas, Shapeshift Gaming, FaZe Clan, Nova Cygnus, G2 Esports, Method, Vega Squadron, alongside so many others. This is going to be incredible, and as we see, the team counter of 14, 56 players alive. They're all in the plane, and we're going to see what we get out of this one.
Yeah, something very interesting there. Method specifically. Something about this team, they moved their roster a little bit. They switched up a couple players. They've been playing with subs, and it has not mattered. Right now, Method's sitting 8th overall in points per game, sitting very pretty because next week 6, the last week of the season, where the top 16 teams will then move into Showdown. So definitely keep an eye on Method. I don't know what it is. Andy Pyro, they just have no issue. It's just like, oh, yeah, we'll play with 2 randoms every time. It's cool. Not a problem at all. And then, of course, FaZe and Vitality, Milta and Milta Power, as we see, flying in that direction right away. Keep an eye on both of those squads. Vitality, actually, sitting in 16th overall right now.
Vitality, one of the teams who at the early end of the season were put on the back foot, where they had the Korea boot camp alongside the team of FaZe, both recognized as 2 of the best teams in the world, and they have been showing this. Despite having a very weak start to our season here at PUBG Online, they have been so strong pretty much everywhere else, and even here from week 3 onwards.
Yeah, and that's something very interesting that you're saying there, Daniel, is FaZe and Vitality, week number 1, they played in the same lobby, both of which in Korea. All right, it was the middle of the night, 3:30 in the morning. These teams, they're staying up just to play in PUBG Online, and they had brutal nights, both of them. But something, of course, you know, is in the water, because as soon as they get back, it's fine. FaZe is okay. They're sitting in 5th right now. They climbed all the way back up to top 5. Vitality on the rise as well, sitting in 16th. So I would not be surprised to see huge days from both these squads to just cement their spot in Showdown for split number 2. And here we are in the wonderful city of Pochinki.
Looking at NIP at the second, of course, Ninjas in Pajamas, Hollywood, ex-Liquid member, Liquid, and not an addition to our lobby today as they were playing yesterday. We have to bear in mind as well, Liquid had one of the best first weeks that we've ever seen. What was it, 4 straight wins in a row over 2 separate leagues?
Well, yeah, so here's what they did. They did have 4 wins in a row on 2 separate leagues if you move into GLL as well. But just in PUBG Online, in the 4-game series that day, they had 60 kills, 3 wins, and a 2nd place in week number 1. Since that moment, no one has caught Liquid. They are holding down the number 1 spot, no problem. They did play yesterday and just cemented that even further. And here we see the zone, Dudge, and we're going to the north, my favorite spot.
We've seen some pretty intense circles so far this week already, including a remake in Game 1 yesterday, but let's just quickly move in from that one. NIP getting themselves a nice compound. They will be inside the circle, and we'll get some early rotations going through as well. Of course, just taking a look on your screen at the second. Thank you, Sap. We've got Hollywood, we've got Sweater, we've got X, Borg, and Hollywood. The full 5-man roster, 4 players, of course, today. So, taking a look at these guys, big name, big brand coming in, but also, how are we feeling about their performance going forwards?
Ninjas in Pajamas, they've just been that team. It's like they can't catch a break ever. We talk about them all the time, especially on Desk. Their rotations are wild. They're completely out of control. They will wrap around an entire circle just to find a safe entry. Sometimes it does pay off. We see them actually grab a win last week, if I'm not mistaken, off a huge play, a huge rotation. And then other times, you know, they're moving around. You just move in the wrong direction. You're passing a lot of teams when you go for long rotations, and it can punish you. So a lot of the time, NIP does see early exits from games with their risky rotation and movement.
we can't really deny just the amount of veterancy that is on the team as well. Of course, Sweater used to be on the squad of Cloud9, been playing Battle Royale since before PUBG was even a thing, and we're seeing him here on your screen. Excellent player, and he's taking a very nice role within the squad too.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we get a first-person perspective on Sweater right now? Is that possible? Because if anybody has ever seen this stream before, the movement by Sweater, you see this crazy mouse movement where he just kind of jiggles to the right and left as much as possible. It is wild. I have never seen anybody else play like this. You watch his stream and it's like, what? Just constant right, left as fast as he can. His mouse is all over the place. It's a wild, wild way to play, but it does end up with some incredible clips, which I'm sure he tweets all the time. I've seen them before. I would definitely check it out if you have not already.
One of the few people who plays on an incredibly high DPI going forward, and not something we usually get to see, especially in any first-person shooter. Lots of players preferring to just take that lower DPI, aim with the arm. Sweater? Nah, man. He knows exactly what he wants.
Crank it up. Yep, exactly.
And as you said, Ninjas in Pajamas, a team that really do turn it up to 11 as much as they possibly can. We are getting our first crate in the game as well, and that's going to be coming just around very soon. Of course, Team 4, that is back from Zaki, already starting to swarm around that, and they will be picking that one up early. So that's going to be a nice boon going forward. Take a look, see what's inside that crate.
Look at the casual. You got to catch it while it's moving. It's stressful for the spectator. Oh, an MK14. Now, you guys talk about the MK all the time. The MK kind of, when it first came out, everyone was like, wow, this is kind of not good at all. And then as people keep using it more and more and more, now some even using it as an AR, throwing a red dot on it, getting that extended mag, and just full auto around a corner with the 7.62 can do a lot of damage and definitely ruin some lives.
Absolutely nutty damage that comes through. And one of the things we have to consider as well, there's always been that split between the Kar 98 and the SKS. The one which many players seem to prefer nowadays being the SKS. It's just so great to be able to, if you don't hit that first shot, follow up with a second, follow up with a third. It's not fully automatic, and an AUG going to be in our second crate as well.
But let me tell you right now, the AUG is very quickly becoming my favorite gun in the game, competing with the M4, which has just been holding down the #1 spot for my entire life. There's something about the AUG, the way it sounds. It is not the fastest when it comes to fire rate, but the damage coming out is great, and the recoil control is actually something that's very important to a lot of these players. You can spray from range and keep it very, very comfortable, especially if you have it all kitted out. Now, this zone here, I want to talk about it very quickly, Daniel. If you look at this zone, if we could just pop to the map very quickly, you see the northern side of the river is very important because of the lack of compounds. We see how much space there is to play with up there, a lot of areas, and that makes the compounds very strong. So we'll see a lot of these teams there north of the river grabbing those early because if the circle does go this way and it favors you, even the gas station here can be a great situation.
Gas station is going to be lighting up for something else here as Havoki from Team 8. Quick Math going to be doing the quick mathematics himself and taking Sweater out of the game very early on. Not the greatest of starts for Drew on the screen as the rest of Team 8 were starting to come up and pull up as well. Team 7 just on the outside of this hill. Team M19, that's going to be one down coming already into Alexis on fire. The M16 is going to be returning those, and that's a beautiful Kar 98 shot, taking Batulin down onto the ground to make this a 1-for-1 to start our engagement off. But we have a compound versus the gas station here.
Yeah, team number 7 right in front of you. That's M19 taking some shots down there. Elite player and Constantine just walking in right now. As Bachelor will get picked up by example. They're shooting down onto the gas station there. Alexis on fire, as you can see down. That is quick math. Now, very important, Havaki winning that 1v1 against Sweater. That was the fight for the gas station, and luckily they were able to keep it, able to keep Sweater out of it. NIP going for a nice little centered location early, not something that we normally see from them, and even sending the scout. So keep an eye on what the rest of that team does as we see Havaki once again getting the quick AK shots onto Sweater and cleaning up the kill to hold that down as the rest of the team got there.
The question, what was going on there? Sweater should be able to hear those footsteps going forward, but we've got another engage coming through here as Pony Rider from Team 5, Team Random going up against Team 2. Vegas Squadron going to be getting that first down in with the M4. Beautiful shots using that holographic through the window. Pure effect. Excellent spray down coming through, but Pony Rider now able to control the rest of these angles. Going to take a nice position up on top of these railings to make sure that nobody's going to be taking a quick exit around the outside of the building directly in front of him. Also able to cover off if anyone pushes through the garage underneath.
Yeah, and very important. Pony Rider all alone. This is a 1v3 situation, so just the down on Maxes are there actually slows this push. We could see the rest of the team down to the south of the mini-map. So very important to get that down, slow them down a little bit, make them go for the res as we see 54th kind of pushing around, and now the entry is going to come out.
That's going to be Pony Rider just breaking that window, making the bait come through. The stairs are going to be traversed at the same time. Hearing all of these footsteps from multiple different angles. Pony, how can he really handle this one? He does have this back room. Going to be taking the peak. Very risky strategy coming forward. 54th running straight into the crosshairs. They know he's there now, running straight through, but that will be the vault outside of the window. Very risky move once again. Back into the ground floor, taking another compounded position, trying to stay safe. We do have Vampire starting to come through as the rest of Vega Squadron will be making their entry. That's 3 downs coming into this already, and that is so clean from Team Random.
This is unbelievable right now. Team 8, which is actually team number 5 here. Another down on the 54th, and Menox is finally killed off. So Maxazor, the final survivor, as Max comes for the 1v1 Max versus Max.
This could get quite difficult on this one, but Max is going to be tagged down by Max. That's 1, 2, couple of shots not going to be landing on this one at the second. AK versus window, garage floor versus first floor. We'll have to see what happens next as, once again, the push coming through from Maxazor from the Vega Squadron. Will he be able to find anything, though? Because this is just a stalemate jumping out of the window now. He's seen the peek, he's seen the player. He gets the peek, but he gets the shots. Max 4747, wasting no time on that clean squad wipe as our 14th place squad is going to be the Vega Squadron.
Dudge, let me tell you right now, that win belongs to Pony Rider 100%. Breaking the window so he had an escape route, a silent one. He takes the shots, they push, too much pressure, jumps out, goes inside, gets a down, waits for his team, just delaying. His team is able to get in and get the kill. That is team number 5 who won that. The name is Team 8, so this is going to be confusing all the time. Team number 5 on your screen. The name is Team 8. That is Stoff. That is Manox. Great job by them winning that fight against Vega Squadron. What a 4v4.
We had the same issue yesterday. Team number 4 is actually Team 1, spelled O, the letter what, the number 1.
These players
sorry.
hate us, Dudge. They literally hate our guts. I swear to God.
There are a few actually. Cheese Doodles has one of the most difficult pronunciations. You had to correct me on that one yesterday because I just couldn't. I didn't. You see it on your screen in front of you, and you don't make the connection straight away as a caster, and it just completely confuddles you.
Yeah, he skipped every vowel in his name. You know, the thing that makes things sound a certain way. So it's literally just, and you're like, oh, yeah, of course, I know how to pronounce that. But here we are with Vitality. Vitality and FaZe both coming out of the Milta area. It's very interesting to watch them rotate because they always seem to rotate right next to each other. And here they are again. FaZe, you can see just slightly to the north of Vitality. Crimson driving off in the distance as well. Holding down the eastern side, they're going to wrap all the way in from the north to try and gain a nice compound. And it'll be exciting. The new zone did just pop, if we can get a quick look at it. Let's see exactly where we're at. Yeah, northeast, up towards Stalber and Severny. Let's go.
Compound will be incredibly valuable here. Lockwood taking some valuable shots of his own as he's able to get the first down in onto this one. Vitality, they're taking casualties very quickly. Crimson are going to be mounting their supplies. Lockwood taken down onto the floor as Araxe is going to be getting 2. Beautiful work from him. He can start to bandage up those wounds, pick Shiv back up. Pybus, Lockwood, and Jimbawe, all from Crimson, taken out of the fights very quickly. That's 3 members of Crimson taken down after Vitality were on the back foot in that engagement.
Yeah, very quick fight as well. As they move in, you know, Vitality loses one immediately as they're driving up, but Araxe is able to pull it off. They're able to get the downs. They're able to clean up Crimson. I think it's just Nibs, yep, and he's holding down the warehouse to the southwest. That'll be the final member of Crimson right over there. So he's in a tough spot now. As a solo player, you got to try and get the best placement that you can, but that's a great movement by Vitality. It's a great jump out and fight right away. Great reaction time.
And FaZe, they are not going to be sleeping on this one. They heard the shots, they are smelling the blood, and they will be hunting down for this. Vitality are already slightly reeling from the engagement. They have to recover themselves. FaZe giving them no time to loot this up. But that is going to just be a couple of love taps as Fuzzface is going to be stroking his chin, getting on the bike and getting back out of there as FaZe will regroup once again.
Yeah, G2 actually, if we were right over them right there. They're in a really interesting spot east of Severny, holding that down. Great piece of defilade here. A lot of cover, and you can hold it down. And this is very important because it's not really a compound, but it's giving you this, the amount of cover that you need. This is a good spot. There's no reason to move, no reason to get at like anywhere away from here, and very hard to approach. A lot of just land around it, a lot of open land. As you can see, Bootless, the closest player, all the way to the northeast. So they're in a good spot. They should not be contested until they are forced to leave. G2 sitting in a pretty location right now.
For sure. Had the pleasure of casting with Jorisar yesterday, and one thing that John actually did point out, especially where we have northern circles like this, when we are going to the north, compounds are fewer and further between, making them just even more valuable. Lots of hilly areas where you can be using the trees, using the natural geography as cover. There's nothing really beating stone or bullets in the case of Stoff, as he's just ripped out of the back of his car. An example is going to be really making an example of him.
Yeah, it's a scary place to drive up in the north because everyone can see you moving. It is just, no matter where you are, tons of teams have a location. Here we see Crimson right now trying to take out Vitality as they pushed earlier. They got one quick down, but Shiv and Araxe were able to pull it off. As we see here, taking more shots off into the distance. Didn't even realize how close Araxe was there. So a lot of damaging, and he waits patiently, gets behind Lockwood, is able to take him out, and then Peevis right away. So a great job by Vitality so far in this one.
I really want to know what happened to Vitality and FaZe when they went to Korea. It's just not been the same since. Beforehand, they were gods. But then they come back and they just blow all of our expectations out of the water. Currently taking a look over at Team 1, the Anime Boys, getting themselves another compounded position. But this one we can see as a difference. Such a large compound, so many areas of approach. And this could be quite split if they are invaded upon.
Yeah, it's a great location because you have the cover, but it is tough to hold. It's very easy for another squad to approach. If they approach from the north, let's say, and Master there all alone, is going to try and take the shots, but it's very tough to do damage by yourself to a vehicle and stop it from hitting the wall in front of you. And that's kind of the risk that they have here. As the zone gets smaller and smaller, eventually someone may have to push on top of them, and that could be a tough hold.
Exactly, very difficult. One of the things we do see with these players being so closely huddled together, not only being able to trade themselves out should a player go down, but the ability to just open fire onto a vehicle as it does make that rotation. Another AUG is coming in. Your prayers are being answered here, Mr. Mac.
Hey, it feels good, man. The level 3 helmet on top of it, you're going to walk through, hey, don't have to worry about it. Maybe I'll get headshot. It's fine, though, as long as it's not an AWM. I'll be okay. And no issue. Now, look at this zone. We've taken out the hill on the east. We've taken out most of Severny. FaZe has to come to the south. A lot of open field here. This is going to be a tough one. The middle road that you see just right in the middle of the zone, that is the lowest point in this zone. So we're going to have some hills coming from either side. A lot of brutal gameplay, and if you don't have a place to go, you are in trouble in this one.
On the southeast side of the circle, Method, they're going to be running straight up against the Anime Boys. Andy on the other end of the fire from Play With Me. He's going to be playing with fire, taking Andy out of the vehicle. Beautiful work to start this off. Method shot caller taken down very early. One more vehicle is going to be going up to the east side of the circle, noticing that the scouting player has already been taken down. Chris and the rest of Method moving as far away as they can very quickly.
Yeah, I appreciate how Andy played that. He took so much damage so fast. He was like, I'm just going to switch seats. I'm going to lean out the window and see if I can just try and get anything out of this. As Hexede actually going down as they're moving past team number 7. That's M19, so FaZe in a little bit of trouble. Fuzzface does get to the shack, so he'll run inside and be able to hold that. But this is a tough break for FaZe, losing one on rotation.
The second time that Example has managed to get a kill out of nowhere on rotating players. FaZe being on the receiving end of this one, as they are going to have to be shack buddies, getting themselves into that love shack because Free's a company and they're going to have a grand old time. So we might need to take the camera away from there if we want to maintain our PG status. Of course, team number 7, M19, the players who were taking those very deadly shots. Example, having that out of the window, just out on the outside of the compound as well, getting beautiful scouting shots going through, and noticing that FaZe are now up there. The vehicles have been parked up as well, so no more noise.
Yeah, and that shack up there for FaZe, not that bad. It actually has a nice little flat area there that provides a lot of cover with a little bit of a hill to the southeast. So FaZe not in a lot of trouble. It's very unlikely that they're pushed for a little while. They can hang out, and hopefully, for them at least, most of these other teams on rotation will be killed off as they're trying to move into the zone. Max actually on his way for team number 5. Once again, team number 5 on your screen. The real name is Team 8. just to make everybody's life as difficult as possible.
Well, Team Random are going to be doing some good work here. We'll just call them that because obviously this is a squad who, in the middle of the season, have had to make a few rotations out. So I think it was last week we were calling them Team 8 because they were actually in Slot 8. This time round, we'll go with Random for this one as they are rolling the dice and just trying to get away from the gunfire that's going to be meeting them from every angle at the second. With these northern circles, of course, that is the gift for yourself when you're rotating late. Of course, Max going to be coming up upon Mori Z here. Mori not going to be waiting around for too long as he's starting to make the push forward. There's the nade already coming down, and beautiful work. What an arm.
Quite the distance on that nade, able to knock Max out. That's upsetting. It was a little far away. I don't know. I mean, it should have done some damage. I'm not sure if it should have got the full down there. I thought he was far enough away to at least survive that one, even though, you know, he did get the first nade off. He was at a pretty good HP. But nonetheless, it does throw him off into the distance, and he does get down. And he is all alone, so Max will be killed off right there by Mori Z. Very important for Mori, actually, holding down that location as you see the rest of his squad over to the west.
Exactly, the rest of the squad will be trying to play for survival now as they have been thrust onto the back foot. We are seeing on the screen 12 teams still remain within the game. So, okay, 11 teams now remain in the game as many of these still with 4 players left alive. Going to be going into these next circles very strong here.
Yeah, and that was NIP going out again. We talked about them earlier. Sometimes they do get punished on the movement. Once again, they split up a little bit. We saw Sweater going out very early. That was X, the final member, being killed off. So a tough break for them, sitting very low in the standings. NIP is going to have to make some serious plays today and next week if they want to get into that top 16. Nookie hopping out in an interesting location here, just using the vehicle, the tree, and a little bit of a hill as cover. It's dangerous, but at a certain point, plays need to be made.
We are seeing the rest of his team down to the south, and here it is. Play with me's kill once again. Andy going past. Even if he didn't jump out, he would have died to that vehicle explosion. So incredible work going through FaZe. Wow. Okay, we missed out completely on that. We're probably going to need to go to a replay again in a second as FaZe have just been eliminated in 11th place.
That is such a tough break. Elite player did get one down, was immediately traded out, and then trying to get into the shack, which was blocked by Elite player's down body. The second FaZe member went down. The last one, Jempty, if I'm not mistaken, trying to get there to help, could not get inside either, was also killed off, and that is it for FaZe. They will go out in 11th place right now.
M19, the Slayers of Giants here. Example earlier on, taking 2 separate players out of cars as they made their early rotations, getting blessed by the circle, but also backing it up with their own mechanics. We're going to be seeing a fight coming in from Team 9. Novus Ignis going up against G2, trading even so far into this as Steven is able to back up the kill and get one return. Steven and the rest of his squad still reeling around here as Skargan. Okay, that was a lovely nade going through there. Skargan, the only remaining player here now from Team Novus Ignis. Excellent work to start this off, but Steven and Wacko will be looking down their sights, trying to find whatever they can here. Wacko, Steven will make this push, as they know it's only a solitary player now.
Yeah, you know, Skygar's actually in a pretty good spot to stay alive if there wasn't a Dacia giving away his location right next to him. So this is going to be a tough break. Lin went down immediately. We saw a nice little shot coming out of Bootless, but they were holding down that one tree. G2 just in better position. A very advantageous fight taking on Novus Ignis here. So Skagran's going to see if he can try to escape out of this. I don't even know if he can get away without being spotted out by G2 as they kind of rotate around a little bit. They will move into the zone and try and hold him out.
G2 are doing a fantastic job here. They notice that there is still one player left alive. That player could potentially be a spoiler to their chances later on if one of them is caught out of place. And Skargan, of course, he's going to want to get a bit of revenge, so it's always understandable to see plays like this. We did see some good molly usage coming in. Team 1, the Anime Boys now engaged in combat versus M19, the Giant Slayers from earlier on. And Konstantinovic and Example just mounting this compound. Only a duo at the second, but the Anime Boys aren't to know that at the second as the rest of M19 have yet to join their squad.
Yeah, Anime Boys actually moving into the location that we saw FaZe holding down earlier. We see them right here. This is a pretty good spot. I actually kind of like it in this circle as well because you can get a lot of frags, put a lot of damage out before you even have to move, or get shot in the head by Reaper of Points with the Car 98. Standing OW trying to make the plays, body blocking a little bit to keep his buddy alive. You see the shots were coming from the south, but unfortunately not able to keep Master alive, and they'll have to take some shots back in that direction.
Sandwiched in multiple positions, Anime Boys definitely on the back foot here, and once again M19 getting a favorable position as the circle is just blessing them time and time again. But that's not to say that they haven't held this position admirably too. The Anime Boys stuck in their position, the rotation coming through from the rest of Team 8 as one duo joins up with the next. Dave the Crazy and the rest of Back from Zaki are going to be their next combatants, but also trapped in combat with Shapeshift Gaming to their northeast.
Yeah, Back from Zarki, they got a pretty good location. They do have Shapeshift very close. They had that one player that I told you moved a little bit more to the east of the compounds on the intersection of the road, taking some shots over here towards Alexis on fire. Back from Zarki, you know, they can hold this down for a while. They have the car cover. Look at that. They made a little T out of it. You know, holding down cover from all different angles if they need it. I like it a lot, but Fawn has to be careful because Morizy is dangerous, and a frag could come out from that direction and do a lot of damage to Back from Zarki.
Quick math, definitely holding up a brilliant position down here. They've got natural cover coming through from the dip in the geography, but they also have some trees to protect their position further. G2 have made the... What we were speaking about Ninjas in Pajamas doing earlier, they've made the rotation all the way around. They're now on the fast side of the circle. They're now going to be getting into vehicles again and finding an entrance into a more empty part of the next circle. But they will be coming across Crimson and Vitality here. They just have to get into this circle as soon as they possibly can now.
Yeah, Nib's still alive. We talked about the 3 Crimson players being killed off by Vitality earlier. He's still alive. They still have 2 kills for the team, so he can definitely recover this game for them. Has a UAZ as well, so a little bit of a rotation, possibly some cover when he gets there. 8 teams alive. That's definitely making something out of nothing so far, so very well done by him waiting for the circle. He's going to move very, very late. No rush at all.
For sure, and G2 starting their own engagement. They're going to be shooting down south onto Shapeshift Gaming. A couple of shots hitting here and there. They are making a lot of noise, so they still have to reel and find where any other players could potentially be. Information very key at this middle stage of the game. We are seeing one down come through as Back from Zaki take their first casualty. Team 11, Shapeshift Gaming, very close to them now. They've made their push up. They have the shack, they have the hill, but they still have to make a push. Zenta covering his squad mate whilst Dave picked back up.
Yeah, Morizy was holding down that shack for a while. We saw it time and time again, and now the rest of Shapeshift is there, and this is a tough situation for Back from Zarki. Very, very close, almost right on top of each other, but you cannot take shots because they're slightly downhill. The frag grenades are going to be the ultimate fear here. Team number 7, they are in the center of the circle right now, and that is where FaZe pushed. So that was a huge play there by a lead player to get one down, Bachelor and go to get the actual res. Now they're holding down that shack. That's a great spot for Team number 7. Keep an eye on them towards the end of this game.
They still have a part of the circle to call their own as well. This duo strategy has enabled them to make a rotation and at least keep some players within the zone. Batulin here, he's going to be taking a few hits as he does try to aim north. Closes that door if they didn't know anyone was there beforehand. The magical moving door is going to be giving that one away for the moment in time. G2 up on that northwest side, having an excellent entrance into the last circle, has provided them with a good position for this next passage of play. They do also have an angle down onto Team 4, Back from Zaki once again.
That's gonna be a problem, Daniel, because Back from Zaki has to move to the north. They have to push on to Shapeshift Gaming, and while they're doing that, G2 will have eyes. So it's gonna be a tough situation. Not only are they taking a team fight right in front of them, but they have to try and remain in cover away from G2 the entire time they're doing that, which is gonna be brutal. And look at this, team number 7, once again, this is M19. They still have 2 over here to the east that are going to be able to hold off players from pushing onto the shack that hold the other 2. So they're in a great position right now. I love the situation that M19 has gotten themselves in.
M19 will have to provide cover, for example, and his duo partner as they do move into the next circle. We are getting the rotation starting to come down. Of course, that is going to be forced by this blue zone coming through. Johnny Bones is going to be a pile of bones at the end of this one. Standing, having to run just past him. say goodbye to his fallen comrade, but looking over here, this is just going absolutely crazy. Dave the Crazy and Zenta taken down very early on into this as Essential with that AUG taking, oh, some beautiful shots with a beautiful sound. 20 players left alive. He's looking to push up to the top of this hill. He's taking damage from multiple angles here, but he's holding the outside position for Shapeshift Gaming as one Resurrect is coming through inside that little love shack, and that is going to be a happy shack for now as they still hold a position right on the edge of this circle.
Back from Zark. He's shot at by 3 teams as we saw the push by Quick Math. More shots coming out from G2 onto team number 11, Shapeshift Gaming. All of these shots just brutalizing the teams in the Southwest. Way too many people, way too small of a location. G2, they're all right for now, but this next circle could be their doom. Nowhere to really move after this. They're going to have to set up another one of these vehicle forts and hope that they can hold it down as long as possible and try and win this one.
5 teams now left alive, so this is going to be where the big money, big daddy points are coming through for our standings. Araxe with that Car 98 just trying to find as much information. He has only smoke for cover at the second and only one partner in the face of Shiv here. Very capable players, but they are facing off against teams with more members than them. This is going to be very difficult now. 12 players left alive. Play with me. Going to be taking a couple of peeking shots down onto Elite Player. But he's able to recover himself very nicely, get himself into circle. He's going to run into what looks like 2 separate squads here. Who's he seen by here?
I think he's seen over by M19 once again. I'm amazed he's still alive. I have no idea how Anime Boys has one in this game right now. That is wild. But the new zone did go to the south. It went towards team number 11, once again, that is Shapeshift Gaming. They're just holding down a great spot, but unfortunately, they will have to leave. Everyone will have to leave. There's no cover in this zone at all. You're going to have maybe a couple rocks. The shack is not in. They're going to have to go north. G2's coming south. FaZe goes southwest. It's going to be a tough, brutal zone. It's all about gun skill here as we get to the end of game number 1.
Very difficult work also from M19. They came so far, but in the end, it really just boiled down to a couple of unlucky positions. And with that, they are down to only 1 player left into this game. G2, the only squad who are really resembling much of a squad at this moment with sheer numbers. 10 players left alive as 5 teams still duking it out and trying to get these placements. Wacko getting in the vehicle, very questionable start to this engage as he's ripped out of it by Mori.
Yeah, they were going to try and get the vehicles down there for some cover when they get into zone, but Wacko goes down immediately. They might even try and get the res here. They're not going to be able to. As you can see, the other 2 are going to push in the vehicles, 1 on foot in the back. Steven and Velen both did get to rocks, though, in zone. So that's huge for G2 that they were able to rotate in.
Having this cover is going to be so beneficial for them. Mori Z having to run outside of cover into the open. Arizona taken down first. Essential making that move next. Mori Z pushing as hard as he can. Getting some beautiful shots as Fantasy is going to be taken down to the ground. There will be no res coming through at the second as this is forced into a duo versus duo combat. Mori Z put down onto the ground. The AUG from Essential now. He's able to get some of these shots in, but not before he is taken out of the game entirely. 2 teams now remain. Team 7 and Team 2. That's going to be M19, Batulin facing off against the rest of G2.
Yeah, this is... I'm just amazed right now how this turned out for G2. I thought they were going to struggle with this zone here moving in, but no problem at all. They did lose Wacko right away, but the other 2, having that many vehicles was huge for them. Having 4 vehicles was massive. They were able to get 2 to rocks, then use them for cover, even though they took some downs. They're okay. Vitality decided to stay outside the zone, try and med through that one. They ended up getting 4th. Not a horrible job by then. And Shapeshift, no cover. They had to run out of the zone, so an unfortunate 3rd. And it's all about Bachelor. Just, be a sneaky little snake. Get yourself 2nd place. That's got to feel great for M19.
And M19, we have to pick up on them once again. They had an incredible position. They used that position. They knew exactly what they had available to them. And it looks like Batulin is going to be reaping the rewards for the rest of his squad here, securing a very respectable 2nd place finish here. 7 total kills. That is, of course, unless he can 1 versus 3 this. He's going to start it off, and he is going to be returned onto straight away as Velan closes that game out, securing G2 a victory.
Yep, G2 in first, M19 taking 2nd, Shapeshift 3rd, Vitality able to grab 4th, and I think that's that's a pretty good job by Vitality. getting up to 4th. I think that's pretty huge for them. What did Crimson end up getting? They ended up getting 8th. That was Nibs. He was all alone. We saw the 3 Crimson players go down. So they did end up 8th. Not awful. Definitely making something out of nothing. But hey, I mean, that's a good first game. That was a violent, exciting first game. We saw some great early team fights, which was huge. And we have 3 more to go, Dodge.
Yeah, exactly. That is only the opening game for this. 40 minutes so far into the broadcast, and already we have had so many kills come through, so many fights, and all of this is going to be giving us a good indication of where the night is going. And as always, it's going to be violent, it's going to get hairy, and these guys have really opened this off well.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to pop into some replays here of the game. Just to start it off, we had Avaki taking out Sweater. Huge play here for team number 8, quick math. You know, grabbing an early location, very, very important. They were taking some shots immediately after from M19. Bachelor ending up getting 2nd place. And this fight right here was probably the best fight in the game that I've seen so far from Team Random. Pony Rider with some next-level plays in this one to get his team the win. And there you see Maddox with a great peek on a 54th, traded out by Maxazer. And then they finish it off. Max 4-7-4-7, able to win the 1v1. What a team fight that was. That one is something that's going to go down for a while.
I don't think Vega Squadron quite expected that one, but next one here as we are going through is Crimson versus Vitality. As we see here, Vitality already sustaining some casualties, but Lockwood turning around, he's being waited for, and then as soon as one Vitality downed member calls it, Araxe peeks around the side and finishes that off. Next we are going over to Play With Me here.
Yeah, Andy Pyro going down on rotation to Play With Me. A tough break. And then Max 4-7-4-7. We saw the grenade kill him. I felt so bad. That grenade would have infuriated me. And this, the loss of FaZe Clan trying to get in. Elite player actually staying in the doorway to make sure they all died, which is just the next level play, is just forcing them. Well, you killed me, but you're not getting inside, so you're all going to get shot. That's the way he played that one.
That was M19 as well, a team that we drew upon so much throughout the game, as we weren't expecting them to have a performance like that, taking down some absolute giants.
Yeah, definitely some wild stuff. And G2 up in the Northwest, I think that's what, you know, this game was all about when they finally moved in. We talked about them being in a safe location early. Then they moved into the zone very safely, held down, stayed with the blue. They did not overcommit for center. They didn't try to over-rotate or do anything too aggressive. And that's what got G2 the win. I think that's very important here. Here's the movement. Wacko actually getting knocked, but it's okay. They had a full team of 4. Steven was able to get down. As you see, Velen as well, both hopping in vehicles and able to get some cover in the zone before any other squad was able to do so.
Straight upon receiving those shots, turning the UAZ around and making sure he could get back out into the smoke where his team could res him. Of course, it did not all look like smooth sailing, as we're seeing here. Ascential pushing up the hill so quick on the rotation, as Shapeshift Gaming just weren't really aware of how many people were going to be peeking down onto them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's just Bachelin all by himself, doing what he can, finally spots them out, takes some shots, but no helmet is a tough way to live, and down he goes to a headshot from Velen. And it is G2 taking game number 1. Now that was it. That was it for game number 1. We do not have a desk today, so we're going to cut to a very quick break. And when we come back, jump right into game number 2 right here on twitch.tv/PUBGOnline.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and when we had our main man Jabroni Mac himself saying we're going to go into a short break, that really was a short break. Our players are not wasting any time this evening. They are getting themselves back into the lobby, back for you guys as quickly as possible. But once again, you're joined by myself, Daniel Sandal, and on the lovely casting desk with me today is Jabroni Mac. How are we doing?
We're doing good. You want to know how long it's been since I casted in-game? My Twitter handle on the little rotating thing is still the one from like 2017, like October. It's great. I just noticed it, and I was like, oh man, it's been a long time. No, we had a great first game. G2 taking the win, M19 in second, Shapeshift Gaming in third. It was a violent one up in the north, just south of Severny. I loved it. It was fantastic. I have to say though, the highlight for me, 100% in game number 1, was Pony Rider and his next level plays, even though he lost his life, to get his team a huge squad wipe victory early in the game, and I think that was very important. I want to see who does that in game number 2, Dutch.
I really want to see what M19 are going to do in game 2. I said this when we were in the break. I did not expect that at all. They just came from absolutely nowhere. Not that we're sleeping on the guys, but when it comes to it, you don't expect a lobby with teams like Vitality, FaZe, even Method, and to an extent G2 Esports and Ninjas in Pajamas as well, just to be taken out so brutally by a squad which has not really surprised us too much or had too much screen time with us. But of course we do have the plane coming through here, and that's going to be 11 all the way down to about the 6 o'clock position.
That's a Zarky plane if I've ever seen one. Come on, Alexis, turn around. Turn around. Almost. No. Maybe not. Just teasing it a little bit. A potential Zarky drop can make me happy. Nookie and Reaper actually turning around. Dreams might become reality, which makes me feel pretty good as G2 obviously heading towards North George. And this one's going all the way down to military. Very western flight path, Dutch.
Exactly, and taking a look at what our squads will be doing next. Of course, plenty of drops going around to the Pachinki areas. Vitality and FaZe, they're not going to be stopping on their Milta Power and Mini Milta Dreams. Not in the slightest. They're going to go to this road, they're going to find themselves a vehicle, and they're going to get over there as soon as they humanly can. They won't be contested by anyone, because who really wants to contest the big dogs in their own city? Bigger surprise more than anything else, though, Crimson and the Vega Squadron are going to be down on the Sosnovka Island, so these guys will have the lion's share of looting opportunities.
Yeah, dropping a military on a long flight towards the end could be dangerous, but hey, you need the high-tier loot. You got to go get the high-tier loot. I have to say, though, we briefly talked about Method in game number 1. Method playing with Moleman and Fake today with Chris and Andy. That is a very interesting lineup of players and one to definitely keep an eye on. We've seen them play Moleman and Fake on a few different squads. They've been a consistent top EU in the player pool. Wow, that is awful.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let you carry on. I'm gonna mute my mic and bang my head on the desk.
I was like, yeah, it's exciting, Moleman, yeah, Andy, it's gonna be great, and then wow. All right, so Vega Squadron sitting in a great position right now. They're gonna loot military base. They're gonna head over to the west. They're gonna grab their choice of compound and feel amazing for the rest of the game. Our Prim team, which is actually Novice Ignis right now, over there, Blade Buyer, Bootless, the Lin over on the western side. They're feeling pretty good because they're not only are they in zone for the first rotation, but they will have boats to make it across safely. This is now a game of getting there and getting there quickly and praying that you have decent loot to fight when you get into zone.
Exactly, and when we take a look at that zone as well, we talk about this each and every time we have, let's say, a controversial circle. Where do you enter the zone from?
That circle needs to be removed from the game for eternity and never be able to come back ever. Because that is, I mean, it is, yes, controversial. 50% of it should be land, but there's a giant river going through, so it's not even 50% land. It's probably 35% land, maybe 40 if we're lucky. I mean, this is awful. And what happens here is circle number 1 becomes circle number 2. So there is just not enough. There's just not enough space for these players. That's just what it comes down to. Everyone has to go down to the military island. There's not enough compounds to go around, and we're going to lose a lot of players early for stupid rotating reasons, and it's not going to be their fault.
especially when we see so much water within the circle as well, we have to bear in mind water play is limited. And rightfully so as well. I mean, are you really going to be able to shoot a gun underwater? Are you really going to be able to just jump on top of that boat as you would in other games? There has to be some level of realism in this game. And with the realism we have, you are so heavily limited to what you're able to do when you are in this lovely, lovely little bit of blue. As Sifel is going to be showing us now, it's not great. So
This
when
is your
you have to
future
approach that circle,
in game number 2 right now. This is your future right here. Sorry. Go ahead, Dungeon.
this is a 50-player perspective right there, and just to really hammer the nail in the coffin, our first drop is also going to be going into the water. So whoever's going to be going into the water first and playing that dolphin strategy, which we all find oh so entertaining, is going to be picking up an M24 with 30 shots of 7.62, an 8x scope, a level 3 military vest, and a first aid kit, just for when they do get shot after coming out of the water.
I mean, I'm a sniper man 100% of the time. If I'm getting a crate and it's not an M24 or an AWM, I am disappointed. If it's an AUG, I'm okay. But anything else, I'm very disappointed. The snipers are what I go to the crate for. And I know a lot of these players do as well. As Vampire Game is actually taken down by Hollywood. So NIP sitting in a pretty good spot, actually, on military. They're feeling okay right now. Wait, where are they? Can we zoom out on the map very quickly? Yeah, they did rotate down there. All right, I just wanted to make sure. NIP going for an early rotation here and getting a quick down on a Vampire Game. So that's huge. They are going to be in a great spot now. This is nice to see from NIP.
Exactly, the early rotation sticking together this time around. First game, we saw Sweater being taken out of the game early after being very detached from his team. That is still a possibility here, but we do see the rest of NIP just very slowly getting themselves back together. I say very slowly, however. They are one of the first teams to rotate down onto that island. Team 9, Novus Ignis, will be picking up the crate as well. Blade Buyer just getting onto the land, and I don't think he knows just how close he is to end, or Nibs at the second. Nibs going to be taking these initial shots. Blade Buyer, of course, picked up the M24 inside that crate. Nibs with the M4 will be having no trouble whatsoever in dispatching him from the game, and will also be able to pick up the crate weapon should he choose to.
That is an unfortunate break there for Blade Buyer. He did grab the crate, but running up from the water on the beach is the least safe part of this game. He did beach his boat, as you can see right there. There's another one off in the distance, but trying to run up there, there's no cover. So the moment you run away from your boat, he waited. Nibs was patient. He waited for him to get away from cover, then started taking his shots. As you can see, Blade Buyer did stop, try to pull out the M24 and take the shot, but he did not have the time for it. Nibs did not loot him, though. And that's very important to note. There is just an M24 on that body.
We do have to look at Nibs' position more than anything else, or at least his position relative to the rest of his team. Not everybody going to be by him, so not everybody available to give him cover should he go out into the open, as would be required should he go and loot out. G2 on their own rotation, going to be coming across X-Chris, already being damaged somewhat as VLAN. Not having the best of times, damaged earlier from one squad and taken out of the car by X-Chris. Beautiful shots placed, and as you said at the head of this game, rotations in Circle 1 are going to be so difficult, and that's where we're getting all of these early casualties from.
Yeah, that was just way too early for Chris there. Just so close. I'm just going to full auto somebody. The passenger side was closest to me, dies immediately. There's nothing G2 can do there except maybe stay further away from the buildings during their rotation. Easy kill for Method. Easy little loot injection, if you will, during the farming phase to get Method what they need. As, you know, they do need to leave early. They need to leave South Georgia Pole early because they have to get all the way to military. So that's some free loot. Definitely some needed in this game one with this violent circle.
And also, looting stages in the early game, especially on the competitive level, have to be very quick, have to also be very calculated. When we have a circle as extreme as this, well, you get less and less time. But getting that extra loot is going to be giving yourselves a massive boon going forward. Of course, we did also see the teams who landed down on the Sosnovka Island. Well, they also took an early casualty for this one.
Yeah, Crimson actually holding down Novo. This is a great place to be Not so much for the circle. I mean, they're going to have to leave, but it's nice loot. You're close enough. They can take their time for the most part. Circle's moving. They don't have to leave just yet. I'm sure they have plenty of vehicles, so they should be all right moving forward in this game. Now, Crimson, a team, they've been doing very well, sitting 4th overall. So they are almost all solidified for Showdown in split number 2. They have to be feeling pretty good about themselves. But why not cement it with a couple late season wins and some more points? Remember, everyone, we did talk about this a little bit before game number 1. This is split number 1. It's week 5. There's only one more week to go after this. There's 40 teams right now in EU. And only 16 will make it into Showdown for split number 2, where they will compete for $20,000 for EU, $20,000 for NA. And, there's a lot of money to be had. There's a lot of wins to be had. And, you always want to be first place, as we see Shiv on the ground next to the bridge.
Well, thankfully for him, there's going to be a lot more game time left, or at least we can hope so, as his squad are able to come and pick him back up. As you mentioned, though, these teams are playing with pretty much everything on the line. Having one of these online seasons, which playing every Monday, playing every Tuesday, just with such a long split as well. These guys are playing week in, week out. They're on the grind all the way through the week, and with that prize pool at stake as well, we get such a huge level of play coming out from these guys. We're hearing some gunshots already, and that's just going to be on the fishing boat on the outside of the circle currently. Team number 3, Method X Chris, currently just trying to pull somebody out there, but nothing happening just yet.
Yeah, this is the problem if you're a team that was up in the north. Now you get to go on an adventure to find a boat. You don't want to go across the bridge. Method here does have one in Prim, so they catch a very early break. But a lot of these teams that take the southern side, if they land in Prim or they're down by a ferry pier, what they'll do early is they will take all the boats, go across the water, and basically force other teams to take bridges after them, just do as much damage and as to inconvenience the other squads as much as possible.
One extra thing here, we are on an 8-minute delay to stop any potential stream sniping or anything malicious going on, and we've just got the first circle presenting itself. How do you feel chat's reacting to this one, Jeb?
Well, I see some sharks, but I think those are for Vega Squadron, it's like a Vega Squadron thing. A lot of LOLs. I got a what face or two in here, an OMG. So, everyone has the same opinion about it. You look at it, you're like, wow, that's awful. That is actually terrible. And I don't
Should we call it a divisive circle?
Yeah, it's just one of those that it's like, hey, let's just twist up the game a little bit. Let's make this a nightmare for as many people as possible. And if you look at the map, you see how everybody moves on this. They all go down in the southwest corner because that's center circle right now. So it's like you can't go west of it because it's water. It's so strange, and it makes for such weird gameplay having these circles that are more than 50% water. It's completely out of control, and hopefully in the future, I hope and pray that we will be able to control the amount of water in circles, but we can't do that yet. So
exactly, and of course the 4 kilometer by 4 kilometer map also coming up soon. I don't think we're going to see any moves for esports on that one, especially not at the very beginning, but it's going to be exciting to see how that does switch everything up, of course, with these new maps coming out with less water in play. One of the things that PUBG Corp has been very good at trying to work out, and one thing that is working itself out now is the circle, as it's starting to, dare I say, normalize?
Don't say it. You're scaring me. All right, don't jinx this right now, Dudge, all right? The circle's going to just, hopefully not be bad, maybe. No, but that's the idea. Now we're definitely going to military. We know that as Alma Menace is knocked and killed off by Chris. Another kill on the movement from Method. So on the way down, making some plays, getting some frags. Very important for them. Get as many points as you can during their travels. They're still actually here, though. Still on the north, taking their time. We see a few teams do this in NA more than we do in EU, where they'll stay up north until the circle tells them, okay, seriously, like, you need to go south now. Like, they will wait, they will play, they will just go across the bridge incredibly late. So it'll be interesting to see if Method runs with that plan, being so far away early.
You actually get to see a lot more of that. I don't do any of the NA work myself. I'm UK-based, so that for me would be probably about a 3 a.m. finish. So how do we actually usually see these NA teams, especially when playing against other NA teams, adapting to extreme circles like this?
Oh, just the adaption is just... See, but that's the issue that I have with it, Dutch. is how do you adapt to this? There's no right way. Because a lot of the teams do so many different things. We see the boats, the vehicles being taken, wrapping all the way around to the south, and that paying off a lot. We see teams waiting a really long time and then swimming across the river late, and that works out. Or taking the bridge very late, and that works out. It's all about where this circle goes now. Does it go north or does it go south? Who's the one that gets the payoff in the end? It's just complete risk-reward for all these guys.
Exactly, and risk-reward, we've spoken about this no matter what. One thing consistent across all of the regions so far is to lower the risk with the highest reward possible is generally the best play to go for. We are seeing some teams, of course, opting for that blue tanking strategy. Hollywood, very long-range shot from Car 98 there. That would have been disgusting if he hit that, but hey, didn't, of course.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, man. You got to get the highlight reel shots. You know, you're 500 meters out. You're jiggle peeking a little bit. You know, let's see if we can just connect one of these in the head.
That was very close, actually. We did see the dirt just rustle up a couple of, maybe about a foot or so to the right-hand side of the player. But seeing also team number 9 over here, Novus Ignis, team with quite a strong showing in Game 1. They do have themselves a nice little area of cliff, and this will be preparing themselves for the next circle. Circle number 3. Second, though, some downs, some kills coming through from these early rotations as our teams are starting to get their own foothold. After this foothold, however, it's where they put their first step we are looking for.
Yeah, G2 actually holding down pretty much as far west as you can go on the military island. I don't mind their location right now. I actually kind of like it. They can go north, they can go south, and it's not that contested because you can't actually climb up here. Some of the areas that you can climb are the most contested on the western side, which is where we actually just saw Novus Ignis.
I like how these teams, after we've seen players in the pro scene, how many hours do you think these guys actually have in the game?
I'm terribly sorry, though. Did you just ask me a question? I just sneezed my face off. I have awful allergies. I had to take my headset off. I'm telling you, man, this Texas spring is just brutalizing me with allergies. I'm dying here every single day. It's out of control. So I do apologize.
I'm sure we can get a nice spam of Fs in the chat for you in about 8 minutes or so. with these players, looking at how they're playing this map at the second, especially on Erangel, these guys have so many hours within the game at the second, thousands upon thousands. Sure. These guys will know every spot, everywhere to go, and they will probably have a very good idea of what's going to work best for them.
Well, it's one of those things, as we see the circle actually going north. So this is one of those situations where, like, some of the NA teams on top, they'll just stay up north. They're like, all right, let everybody fight, and we'll swim across later, whatever. It's not a big deal. But when it comes to knowing the map, that is the number one next level thing that you can do out of becoming a normal player, right? You play well, you get great shots, and you're feeling very confident in your fighting. Then you learn the map, and you learn all those extra spots, those spots that we see some of these players use, and you're like, wow, this is I didn't even know this was here, and this guy's using it in competitive gameplay to gain an advantage. And then after that, you actually start to learn where everybody else is rotating, and you think, all right, so there's probably a team here, they know this spot, teams know this spot, and you start to learn where the most teams or the most players should be. The most dense area of players will be in specific circles, and you try and avoid those. And you'll see some of the teams, FaZe especially, being the #1 team in the world, they consistently are in a location where they're not at threat and they're not covered by 5 or 6 other teams at the same time. They stay out of those. They do whatever they can to stay on this side of the circle that they can control.
Exactly, and we are starting to get some new rotations going forward. I did say normalized earlier on, but we've still got some water into the next circle. My apologies to everybody currently playing this game.
That is 100% your fault, Nudge. Like, just completely confirmed here. We see team number 11, Shapeshift. They had a great performance in game number 1 right here, right on top of Crimson. And this is interesting because when you're in a, let's say, this situation, you need to decide, do we go fight a compound or do we commit to water? Committing to water basically says we're losing this game, but we will try and swim for a top 5. We will try and swim for something like that. Right now we see a team, it's team number 11 in Shapeshift. They want to fight for this as Mori goes down.
Crimson already starting very, very heavily on this one. NBS getting the first down into the engagement. Essential will be trying to play medical duties, but Crimson has the outer position on this. NBS can push forward, or he can use Zimbabwe as the responding player should the push come through. Pybas also on the long flank, very far away, and my goodness, what a nade as NBS is going to be taking Mori Z also down onto the ground. He can also try to make the push. We'll have to see what does transpire next. More nades are coming down, but nothing really happening from this just yet. Essential forced out of the smoke.
Yeah, Crimson needs credit here. They communicated where the players were. They communicated where Shapeshift was putting the pressure on, and we had other Crimson players moving to the southwest, all the way down in the corner of your mini-map there, taking shots at them, got the initial down, then the frag came out to get Mori down. That was down number 2, and there's the push and the finish by Crimson. Nice wipe for them. Very well done, very well performed, and only 1 down. So Zimbabwe's going to go and pick up nibs if he can, hopefully not under too much pressure from any other squads.
And that is NBS also just able to take the first rotation around and waiting for Zimbabwe to also try and back him up. But we are now taking 5 versus FaZe here. FaZe on the back foot as they already have 2 players downed and 1 going to be going out of this game very shortly should the push come through. Fuzzface able to trade out very, very quickly. Pony Rider looking for it. Fuzzface!
Fuzz is insane.
What was that?
Fuzz is insane. That re-peek, man. Oh my god.
Gonna see it again.
This is the pressure right here. 2 players pushing right on top. Max goes down. That's a fine trade. Fuzz goes back, and then he wide peeks right around Pony Rider. Pony Rider, the player I was giving so much credit for in game number 1. Fuzzface with that really wide, aggressive peek there to try and keep the crosshair off him and get as many shots out as quickly as possible. That is huge for FaZe, and so well done. Great job, Fuzzface.
Fuzzface has been crazy on multiple occasions, but we've seen that on multiple occasions from every single member of FaZe, and these guys are considered the best for a very good reason here. Taking a look down at team number 7, that's going to be M19, our second place team from game number 1. They'll be trading out onto back from Zaki, Konstantinovic, taking a couple of shots very easily here, just up the hill, but he will be returned on very quickly. That 8 times not going to be doing him any favors. Has to put the weapon away, run to cover. Very long fight going on now.
Yeah, and this is a tough spot to be in. Team number 4, back from Zarky up top, putting a lot of shots in this direction, but now they were under pressure from behind. So team number 7, M19, able to get a little bit of freedom here, Constantine.
FaZe and Vitality, sorry to cut you.
No.
Sorry to cut you. FaZe and Vitality are engaged in very close combat with one another here as well. Just looking around this very southeast corner, that's going to be 1 member, Monkey, going down very early on. Shadow does have the ability to look around. Vitality also being peeked on by back from Zaki, who were in the re-peak position earlier on. Shadow taken down by a nade very early on, forcing a rack safe down, but walking straight into the opening arms of back from Zaki. Beautiful work, excellent rotation. Monkey in the smoke. He's going to be... I can't finish that sentence without swearing, but he's going to not have a good time very soon.
Oh, no!
You hate to see it, folks. Beautiful work there.
That landed right at his ankles right there. What a brutal moment for Vitality there. Trying to get in a fight with FaZe, and then back from Zarky from behind. NIP here, Sweater once again. The jiggling back and forth, the movement out of control. Switch over to X. They're under a lot of pressure as well.
I'm just recovering from that. That was absolutely insane. NIP are getting themselves a nice position within the circle, but back from Zaki, they're back from the top of the hill, and they're still looking for other players to kill right about now. Are spotted out very early on. NIP going to be taking 2 casualties thanks to 1 very handily placed grenade from Fon. There's a second grenade from Dave the Crazy. And what has happened to back from Zaki? These guys have suddenly invented mortars. They've got 4 kills from grenades in such a short space of time. Where do I get an arm like that?
They are just running around and murdering everyone. Back from Zarky, no hesitation. They've taken out FaZe. They've taken out Vitality. They just take out NIP, cruising into the zone. They had one of the toughest roads into the circle possible. And look where they are. No one is around them. They've killed them all.
They've taken absolutely everyone they can. It was M19 in game number 1 who did something very similar. Look at this, more nades coming through. These ones falling a little bit short. And those back from Zaki nades remind me of Penta back in the day when they used to get as many nades as they possibly could. Wacko going to be taking some shots down onto a Method here. Is Molman going to be the first one taken down? The repeat coming through from Andy with the M24.
Andy just saved Moleman right there, 100%. He was one shot away. Wacko had to turn his gun and look at Andy. It was too late. The M24 shot was already on its way. Caught Wacko right in the face, loses his helmet. Now Fantasy's going to have to get the res, and Moleman will get picked up. Huge play coming out of Andy. Method still 4 strong moving forward in this one.
Method, as you mentioned beforehand, playing with 2 subs this game around, Fake and Moleman respectively. They're going to be taking shots down onto Team 7, Team 1, Team 10, and Team 2, all inside the water. But this is the Anime Boys. They've been able to trade out very heavily down onto back from Zaki, catching them with their pants down just a little bit here as Master will be looking for the push. He knows one's down to his left. He knows one is down in front. But does he have any support backing him up too? 2 players in his rear, but we have to see. They're starting to push forward. Johnny Bones making one player a pile of bones at the second. It's a good start off to hit this.
This is a lot of hesitation. This is a lot of hesitation from the Anime Boys. They had 3 knocks. Now 2 of those players have been picked up. They only got 1 kill from that. Master still hanging behind the rock. Play with me, and Johnny just kind of maybe teasing the circle side of the push, but they had a great opportunity to get a full squad wipe there, and they kind of let it go. They do get Fawn down once again, running away. Dave the Crazy under a lot of pressure. Johnny almost goes down.
Johnny taken down onto the floor, but he's only going to be proning this time around. Unlike Dave the Crazy, who's been taken almost out of this game, bleeding out like crazy at the moment. Zenta is going to be making a run for it, but he's going to be turned into dust, as that will be the Anime Boys performing squad wipe duties. Crimson in the center of the circle have a perfect position to fire down onto G2 and Method, as so many players are just being gate kept by this incredibly strong compound. Circle now moving in, ushering these guys further forward, closer together. And this is not going to be a friendly reunion.
Yeah, this is wild. You know what? I thought FaZe was fully eliminated, but Haxete is actually in the water. He was not killed by back from Zarki. G2 could not get past Method right now. Method taking some shots into the water. They still have 1 G2 player behind them. Reaper points swimming, all kind of teasing the land, if you will. Steven, last one for G2. He's in a lot of trouble. So Method, they will not commit to water here. They're probably going to hold down the beach as much as possible, try and rack up the kills, get all the points they possibly can, and keep everyone else from getting on land.
G2 taking a few shots there, but it's going to be Molman turning around, saying he doesn't want anything to do with that, and just taking one player out of the game. G2 now eliminated. FaZe's Haxete will be swimming with the rest of the Dolphins, but they will be walking straight into Method very soon. Crimson, with that very strong compound, are also going to be rewarded with a very strong gun as soon as we find out what's inside this. We'll have to do this very quickly because action going on everywhere. Gunshots in every direction. Standing OW taken out of the fight very early. Kemba taken down onto the ground, as well as Nookie has his own compound for Team 8. Quick math. The rest of Team 1 starting to make their rotation around. They are very clear on the outside of the circle, just to the southeast.
Yeah, so we missed a little bit there. Everyone in the water's dead. So let's just to update you, everyone that was swimming is now dead, and they will no longer be in this game, which is pretty interesting because none of them getting top 5. Crimson holding down the 1 compound. They are not safe. They do have the crate there, the M24. They'll be able to pick that up, move into the zone, but they do have Method very close, and that is the fear. That's what they need to be careful of. Ooh, the silenced M24, the best sound in the game, Dutch.
The silenced M24 indeed. So nice. The silenced AWM comes very close, but it's just the bolt. Beautiful. We may hear a few more of those, but we're going to hear the M4 first as Jimbawe from Crimson. Strong position, throwing that nade through. May not hit down onto the floor. They're running though. Fake, taken very low, puts himself back down onto the ground, trying to cover up as much as he can. A couple of shots do return over onto Jimbawe as Pybas will also have to just get himself those overmeds going, get himself ready for a fight, and these guys are all geared. They are ready.
Man, absolutely. Method's still 4 strong. That's so important. They're going to try and push up onto Crimson into the compound. This is a tough angle for Jimbawe. as Moleman's going to be able to get to the wall. No, he's not. Nibs is able to take him out from the angle. That's an important angle to hold here. Able to keep them pushing all the way to the building. Fake, Andy, Chris, all peeking the same rock. Nowhere else to go. A lot of shots. Jambawe gets another in. Chris gets another in. Andy as well. And it's all up to 1. Moleman does bleed out.
Beautiful work coming through. That could be the nade. It's going to take Method out of the game. We've seen so much work coming out of nade so far. We had, of course, back from Zaki, who managed to just pretty much wipe half the server with 3 nades. And now Crimson also taking Team Method out of the game. So, sorry, chats. Andy is no longer alive.
Yeah, you know, they performed very well. They were in a tough spot. Pushing out of that compound is tough, especially when Crimson was holding it so well with Nibs holding down that one angle so they couldn't get to the wall and then peeking out the window, keeping them on the rock as much as possible. That's huge from Crimson. They're in a great position. They, unfortunately, now need to leave that cover, though, and push into this zone. So we have Nookie that's all alone. Maxizor that's all alone. Master is... They have 3. Finstack still has 3, and Crimson has 3. So 2 teams of 3 and 2 solos here in the final.
Exactly. Team 1, the Anime Boys. Team 2, the Vega Squadron, also have 1 player left alive. Maxizor just over by that tree, not making any noise at the second as he realizes so few players. Oh no, that's going to be Master walking straight into trouble. That is Maxizor's position now given away. 7 players remaining in this tiny, tiny circle. 4 teams. Top 5 has long been established, and Maxizor, he's going to have to move very soon, otherwise Crimson are coming into his territory. Yeah,
Maxizor has actually been lucky. He's been all alone for a while, but he's been able to hold in circle no problem, using the tree and just kind of snaking his way through this one. This time, though, there will be the team of 3 in Crimson pushing on top of him. Johnny Bones is going to help him out a little bit, though, and take some shots in that direction and keep the pressure on, as Finstack, the 2 players, are safe. So they'll be able to hold down the uphill area of this one. So Jambawe, under a lot of pressure, takes a little bit of damage. Let's see if he can get it.
Johnny Bones with that fully automatic rifle, just spraying down and getting as many peppery shots into the opposing players as he possibly can. The Anime Boys down to 2 players currently. Vega Squadron with a solo. Quick Math also with 1 solo, as Crimson looking set to take this with 3 players left alive. Comprising our final 7 here. Silenced N24 just raining through the air for us, and making my ears feel a little bit tingly there.
I know, it's perfect. Oh, looking for the head of Johnny Bones. His Nibs right now under a lot of pressure, but he's taking some shots. He gets a little bit low. Crimson only has 1 player almost in zone right now, not even completely in. So this is very dangerous with him, and Max is there. So Pubis has to be careful. If he over pushes, Max will be able to get one of these players from behind and might risk this victory and hand it over to Finstack.
Maxizor is going to have to exercise some incredible trigger discipline at this moment in time. NBS taken down to the floor very early on. Pybus going to throw out 1 nade very early on. Trying to find Johnny Bones. Does find it! What's going on with the explosives this game? NBS has been taken down to the floor. Just to recap from earlier, Jambawe splitting very heavily away from the rest of his team. He's going to find Nookie very soon. Nookie whiffing a couple of those shots, but able to land the ones that matter. Nookie taking 1 player out of this game entirely. Pybus also going to be taken out. 3
That's
teams
it for Crimson.
now remain. Crimson looking like the strongest competitor here. Just wiped.
Yeah, that was tough. The solos just did so much damage onto Crimson. They just cost them that game completely. Now Finstack, if you can get Johnny Bones up, we'll have a 2v1v1. Maxizor doing his job, and Nookie as well, saving the game for Finstack there. They did have 1 down, but they were able to put so much pressure onto Crimson that it was just cleaned up, no problem. Crimson eliminated. They will take 4th.
Exactly. Team 1, the Anime Boys, have 1 player remaining. Team 8, Quick Math, 1 player remaining. And now we are also going to be taking a look over onto the team of the Anime Boys with 2 players left alive. We'll have to see whether this 2 versus 1 will work out in their favor. They have circles, so they don't really have to move anywhere. Nookie, out of meds, almost out of health. What can he do here aside from secure this top 3 position for Quick Math?
Well, unfortunately, no meds right here, as we can see. No backpack. Just an AK, a SCAR, and a Dream. So he's going to have to snake his way. Cannot wait. He will die to zone in 1 tick. So that is huge. That's very important. He cannot try and med through. Maxizor is not the same. He could try and med as much as possible. So Nookie can just kind of crawl in and hope nobody sees him, but if he sits there, he will die immediately when this one moves, which is 2 seconds away. So if he doesn't get up and run, that's going to be it for team number 8. Quick math, and Nookie will not make it. And there you see the crawling, the crawling, the crawling. He will have to stand. Eventually, maybe not. He can keep ahead of this one. Barely,
desperate crawl going forward. Team number 2, Vega Squadron, will be starting to make their move up, but we did see that Maxizor, he has a lot of meds available in his own inventory. It looks like the solos will be eliminating themselves very soon, as they are the closest together very, very handily. Let's take an aerial view onto this one as we go up into the sky to keep an eye on the prize. As Maxizor, he's going to be hearing those rustles very soon. Nookie also in a similar position. They're moving away from one another. Snaking has never needed speed casting before.
This is the most intense snaking I have ever seen. Who gets second place? Is it Nookie or is it Maxizor? This is going to be huge. Vega Squadron, they do have the HP. They do have the level 3 helmet. Advantage belongs to them. Both players getting in the zone. Who will look at the other first?
This is the final circle. This is so close. Play with me. He's starting to get impatient. He spots the player. There's the down. There's the out. As now next is going to be Maxizor. That's a frag nade. We are in a tiny circle now. So one of these is eventually going to hit.
That might be it.
This has been a game of nades, so it's only appropriate for nades to finish this one out. Maxizor, on the other hand, not dying so easily. Play with me, just trying to find those spots.
What a strategy! God. That was awesome. Okay, so this is dangerous now because Play With Me is going to wrap around this side. Maxizor might be able to pick one off here. This could be the moment he's waited for.
1 versus 1.
If he can pick one of them off, turn this into a 1v1. I think Johnny Bones may have spotted him there. There you see, takes the shots. He does not get him. And it's Play With Me, team number 1, Anime Boys, getting the win in game number 2.
So close on this one. We saw so many nades coming through in that game, and it looks like explosives being the biggest story going forwards. But Anime Boys picking up a very respectable 14 kills to close that game out and take victory here in game 2. And, well, we're starting to see these players warming up now. And if we can expect this level for games 3 and 4, then, well, I think we're both going to have heart attacks.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a heated day, 100%. The grenades are flying. We've had some great plays from a couple players. We're going to see some replays here of game number 2. As you can see, the match did start at a time in this game, which was great. This was the original circle dodge. Look at this. Just brutal.
I thought we'd gotten over that. I thought we'd stopped talking about that first.
We can't.
Close enough though. Lots of water. And when we did see the water come to a head as the players were pushed onto land, this is the aim of the game. So many fishermen just coming out, getting those easy prizes, and that I believe was the M24 in the crate, wasn't it?
Yep, that was the M24 picked up by Bladebuyer, ran onto the beach, was killed off. This unfortunate moment for G2, driving right past Chris, right in that building. Easy spray down and kill onto Velen there. So that was the first kill for Method, if I'm not mistaken, on the game. Maury Z in Arizona right there we saw on the northern side. This is before they decided to move down. And, you know, a lot of frags coming out. It was a brutal rotation in the zone, a lot of pressure. And this fight right here was very important by Crimson. This was huge. They had some players move into the southwest to get an angle on team number 11, Shapeshift Gaming, and did a lot of damage. So this was the first huge play of Crimson so far, and then looking very good against Method later on in the game. Very impressive showing for them, grabbing 4th.
Fortunately, Crimson not able to take this dominating mid-game to close out. This was where we were seeing tons and tons of nades just starting to come down, and that was where we were really getting most of the explosive action through. NBS there with the peak, but being able to be backed up by Jimbawe for that squad wipe. This is the hand shot that we kind of lost it over. Fuzzface did a first peek going through, takes him low. This shot from Pony Rider is going to hit Fuzzface in the hand, whereas Fuzzface is just going to miss none of those shots, going straight into the neck.
Yeah, just so close, but so far. What a brutal way to go out for Pony Rider. And a huge play from Fuzzface there to keep FaZe in it. And then Haxede somehow gets out of this situation where we see him right there and gets into the water, which is wild to me. I have no idea how he got over there. We did not see it on the camera. But Vitality getting taken out from back from Zarky in this game, looking very confident in their shots, very confident in their gun skill, and just moving forward, taking everyone out. And the casual grenade right on top of Monkey. Threw it right in his pocket.
That is such a feels bad man moment. We did see the nade just rolling up there, and congratulations to Siffle on that one, able to catch it as it just rolls right into the pocket, as you said. Over onto the cliff faces, however, Wacko getting the first down, almost able to get the kill before Andy on that life-saving peak.
Yeah, you know, that was a moment that Moleman, he was literally eliminated. He was one bullet away from being eliminated, but we had to move over and shoot Andy in the head, but did not happen quick enough. The M24 shot right to the skull to save his teammate and immediately got the res. So a huge play coming out from Andy there.
Exactly. As the circle did shrink all the way through, we were in our top 5 scenario, and with that we can see Method did still have 4 players left alive until they pushed onto Crimson. Crimson with a dominating mid to late game performance, not able to finish the game out on top, as we'd already said earlier. Jimbawe taking these peaks out of the window, so much confidence, able to take 2 before he is traded back on himself, and this was the nade that finished Method.
Yeah, very unfortunate for them. It was such a tough push getting from the water up to that compound. And then as they're pushed up, we see Maxer there. He takes out Master first from Finstack, making them only 2, but they were able to hold it off as Crimson was in a lot of trouble against these 2 solos. Maxes are just prone right there by the tree, able to do some damage. And then Johnny Bones actually going down from that grenade. So Finstack was in trouble, but Nookie came in with the save onto Jambawa, getting that down to keep Finstack alive and safe. And Maxes and Nookie, it became a little bit of a crawl fest.
Yeah, exactly. This is where our snakes were in the zoo, and we were just taking a look at these guys. It was very tense, as either of these two players could have taken extra points for their team. Of course, Nookie was eventually the first to go down, as Max saw plenty of meds available to him, and also the anime boys rotating around were able to spot Nookie's head out first. We did see Nookie replacing a couple of shots. It was Play With Me's play. That was very weird to say. It was the play from Play With Me here, where he's just able to move that UAZ down and try and get that to explode onto Max's, or just missing it.
Yeah, very quickly, someone just said in chat, I was completely wrong. I had Finstack yesterday playing in the 1 slot, and I called Anime Boys Finstack. So I apologize. I'm so sorry. Anime Boys with the win in game number 2. I kept calling. They were just playing in the same team slot, and I made the mix-up. So that is my bad, chat. I am sorry. Please forgive me. It's been a while since I've casted. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me.
We've seen some very confusing names coming through. As you said, we also had Team 8 who were playing in the slot of Team 8 beforehand. No, they were in the 5th slot. This week around, to avoid that confusion, Team Random. Of course, there's Team 1 who were playing in slot 4 yesterday. So it happens, man. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Well, that was game number 2. We do have 2 more here for EU today. So we're going to take a very quick break. Then we will hop back for game number 3 right here on twitch.tv/PUBGOnline.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the PUBG Online Showdown series. We're going into Game 3 now after an action-packed Games 1 and 2. As you can see on your screen, the match is going to be starting in just about 55 seconds. But whilst we are here, we might as well take a look at our lovely quarry, the surrounding areas, the 56 players in this game as well. So, tell me, Jab, how are we going to be taking a look at Game 3? Do you think we're going to see any adaptations coming through from these teams?
All the way down south, some wild stuff. Once again, though, I do have to say, I apologize to Anime Boys. I did call them Finstack, and I just want to make the correction more than once and just say, I apologize. I'll make sure I don't do that again. These teams, there's 320 players on 80 different teams, so we try and keep up the best we can, but I did slip up a little bit, so I do apologize. Anime Boys, a job well done, winning game number 2. But game number 3 now upon us, and team number 5 right in front of us. Pony Rider, we saw a nice play out of him in game number 1. That is, of course, Team Random. Hopefully have another good showing. We've had great early team fights, Dutch.
One thing we also have had is weird circles, or at least difficult circles, let's say. And with that, we haven't really had the level of consistency which we're used to. Now, not to be harsh on this one, but we were kind of expecting perhaps 5 of our teams to be our top 5 scenarios all the way through. And instead, in games 1 and 2, we've actually got surprises going all the way across.
Yeah, and, that's what it's all about. Some of these teams right now sitting around ranked 20 or so in our leaderboards. It's important. You want to get top 16. You have to make big plays towards the end of the season split, which is, of course, 6 weeks, top 16 getting into Showdown. Nobody else gets in out of these 40 teams, so 24 will not make it. Very important here. Make your plays late in the season. Get your wins. Get all the points you can. Nice flight path, though. Wow. I'm happy with this one.
That's very open. Going to be giving all of our teams pretty much all of the options. They can go for whatever they want. Of course, when they do go for whatever they want, we're going to be seeing FaZe and Vitality heading over to Milta Power. Next to them is Team 1, the Anime Boys, heading just around Mansion, Prison, and Lipovka. But of course, at the start of the plane routes, we do have another Zaki circle. And it's not back from Zaki, it's Quick Math up there.
I love seeing that's back-to-back games. We see them up in Zarky, and I love it. It is a dangerous place to go if you get a rough circle, but, every now and then, Nookie able to pull off a 3rd place from Zarky on a military circle in game number 2. That's huge. That is a huge play and something very important, making something out of a very dangerous, a rough circle, a rough situation for that team.
Exactly, and we did see Nookie with that intense snaky play last time around, but nobody is going to be following him into this game as we do have everyone back alive, and we are going to be getting our circle establishing itself now as well. So bring up that map and head back north, only about 10% water this time around, and similar to what we saw in game 1, if not shifted slightly over to the right.
Man, I love these northern circles so much. They make for such great gameplay. I am a man of northern Georgia pole. Once you get up into those fields, those are my favorite, but I'm okay with the eastern side too. Stallber, we actually saw a circle during EU last week that was inside the ruins of Stallber at the end game, and it was one of the wildest finishes of a game that we've seen, finishing up at a mountaintop. So many teams without information creates for some really wild gameplay.
I was there for that one. It was absolutely incredible. I believe it was Alliance that we saw winning that game in the end with a very well-coordinated push, just walking over rocks. I remember being astonished as the final circle of the game absolutely chunks. But even with that chunk, the team having the presence of mind and the mechanical skill to just push forward, take the blue damage, and hit every single shot to close out the game. It was a wonderful viewing experience.
Yeah, and that's something that some of these players do that you would never even think of when you're playing. It's like, oh, let's run literally into a death circle, knowing that I will never get back in, I'm going to die, but I'm going to get an angle that these players do not expect. I'm going to get shots that they're not ready for, and that's how they came out and won that game, and it was, it was just completely huge. But this should be a nice circle, makes for some good rotations for a lot of these squads. Everyone should be able to get into circle number 1 relatively safe, depending on where they choose to end up inside the circle. That'll be a whole different matter.
Exactly. Plenty of angles for these teams to approach the circle from, and not too much pressure on the teams in the early game. Of course, we will be having to see the teams who went further south, teams like FaZe and Vitality, of course, with their usual Milter approaches. They will have to make their way in, but there isn't really too far to go for anyone here. This circle's still large enough and open enough for all of the teams to get themselves a foothold here in the early game.
Yeah, it's going to be a situation. NIP, very split up here. Look at X over by Everest on the western side. Hollywood actually over by Apartments, heading north already. This is very spread out, very split for NIP. Normally we see split looting every now and then. As you can see, Vega right now, 54th maxes their Vampire game. Just kind of spread near each other. NIP, X will go west, Hollywood will go east. So it should be, that's an interesting team to keep an eye on and see where they finally end up in this zone. Crimson in a pretty good location, choosing to loot those northern areas in the first place. So they should find a great location very shortly.
Exactly, and well, one thing to pick up on as the Lin has killed himself.
Man, Lin, Lin is a personal friend, and just seeing him go out first by blowing himself up. I don't know what happened, but we're just gonna pretend it didn't happen, Lin. Don't worry about it. Just brush that one off.
I do always like to check the player channels in Discord just to make sure, see if we're getting anyone in there with a little bit of insight. Nothing coming through so far around, but first grade of the game also going to be spawning in to the very north of the current white circle in the water. So Team 11 Shapeshift game we have very ambitious and approach around Severny will have the option of going there. Kemba, that double barrel, not quite what he was looking for to take shots like that.
Yeah, hey, sometimes you got to just take the double barrel, take some long shots. Hollywood actually stopping to get a little peek down onto Kemba where he was to see how safe that location was. Jambabwe taking some shots at Menox as he drives by, trying to keep the pressure on. So this is going to be it's very interesting. We talked about it a lot in game number 1. There's just not enough compounds to go around for these players up in the north. That's just what happens. Once it gets to a small location, there's just a lot of land and not as much cover in a lot of the areas, unless you're up on the hillside.
Looks like an MK14, if I'm not fully mistaken there. Just beautiful gun coming through. Of course, level 3 helmet. We're not fully sure if that was what came out of the crate as well. Beautiful loadout to start the game off with, and we can't keep speaking about the MK14. I'm just going to let the gun do its own work. So Team 11, please make it into late game and get those highlight plays to finally prove me right. You
want to know what's funny? We actually talk about the MK14 all the time, and we don't have a good MK14 highlight. We always talk. We're like, oh, it's good. Some of these players love it. No, and then I never see them using it like I see the players. So when someone has a Groza, someone has a Groza. When someone has an AUG, someone has an AUG. But not so much with the MK, and it's just unfortunate because I want to see a red dot MK building push. And Bootless going down for Novice Ignis as well. They've lost 2 very early in this game.
Not sure how he died there as well, so maybe we'll find out a little bit later on. No real information on this one, but 2 players out of the game very early on. Now, as some rotations starting to make themselves apparent, G2 will be taking a few shots, and these rotating players, or at least the scouting players, will be on the receiving end of a few shots. No casualties as of yet, as these teams just trying to scout the areas, trying to poke the sleeping bears, and hopefully find themselves and their teams a little bit of real estate.
Yeah, G2 actually teasing the same location that they had in game number 1, opting for something a little bit different as they head over to the warehouse here. We did have Crimson up in this area originally. Interesting place to park the UAZ there, Wacko, as they take some shots from the southeast. NIP holding down the little shack, if you will. They're going to rotate actually down onto Kemba right now. So they're in the same compound. 2 players of NIP did move down. Kemba all alone there. You see him prone.
Very close to NIP, and we've seen something similar happen beforehand in game 1, except it was Sweater on the receiving end of the play. And Kemba, he's going to have to sneaky snake himself away, but there are a couple of players, as you mentioned, to his southeast. No helmet, or at least the helmet that he does have heavily tagged up at this moment in time, so difficult position to be in.
Yeah, that's a tough spot for him because he cannot go on the southern side because X and Hollywood are up there keeping watch. They will spot him out for sure. He can only go in from the north. But if he goes to the north, G2 is going to be able to spot him. So right now, Kemba's in a situation where he just kind of has to prone for the rest of eternity.
Sit and pray.
Yep.
He's probably putting his hands together right now and just hoping that something is going to pull NIP away from his current position. And, well, we'll have to see. But at the second, everything is fully stable here. We do have Lockwood taken down onto the ground, but I'm a Menace isn't going to be peeking that just at the moment as Pybass looking to pick up his squad mates here. Shots still coming in from a distance, but it looks like Menace is expecting more of a push coming through from Crimson now.
That was an interesting nade. He did get one knock, as you see. Lockwood is actually down. Menace is under pressure, though. He has the K98. Lockwood's picked up, so Pybass and Lockwood, they could push onto this one if they're interested to. NBS all alone northeast of G2, so Crimson kind of opting for two different locations. Don't know if they've made their decision yet on where they're going to stay, as you see Zimbabwe holding down the larger compound. And just north of them, back from Zarki, once again after a violent game number 2 out of that squad.
They probably put on a Dr. Disrespect playlist, got the violence to speed, the momentum, and just tried to wipe everyone they could, because it was such a brutal set of plays that we saw from them. They just vultured in through the back end of, I believe, it wasn't Crimson, but it was Vitality. Arguably one of the 2 best teams in the world currently, who just got rotated on so hard by back from Zarki, killing off with nades and just doing God's work. It was absolutely beautiful to witness.
Yep, FaZe and Vitality both rotating around the eastern side. Again, they always do this on the northern zone. Every single time, both these teams will go all the way to the east, they'll wrap all the way around to the north, and they'll always end up right next to each other. A lot of pressure onto Vampire Game and Vegas Squadron right now. He's going to hop right in this buggy and get away. His Method is pushing up on him. Oh, a little honking, a little BM on the way out. Now you spun out. Be careful. Get out of here, Vampire. Stay safe, man.
It was beautiful work in Vegas Squadron getting that advanced BM going through. I think the best is when you are in a squad game as well, you're the solo remaining player left. You're in the position we saw from one of the players earlier on, where you are just outside a compound of 4. You nick their car, and you leg it as quickly as away as you can whilst beeping the horn all the way. It did get me killed, but it was worth it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, sometimes you have to BM a little bit. Every now and then, you're like, hey, you tried to shoot me, but you didn't get me. I lived, yeah. Some shots coming out onto Vitality from the Anime Boys on the east. Opting for the Lipovka area to loot. Lipovka Mansion and all these eastern compounds for Anime Boys. Now they're going to move up to the north. I don't see any vehicles as they shoot over at Vitality, but they should have a nice cover-filled trek into or further into the safe zone for them. And this one has now gone west, so now they need to worry a little bit. That's going to be quite a trip. Team number 8, Quick Math, holding down a center circle in a nice compound there, just uphill from the 4 buildings right at the intersection. So that's a nice location to be in, especially with the way this circle just went.
We talk about FaZe's rotations quite often, and we did see them just on the northern roads, able to rotate away from anyone else, just having that sixth sense, having that map awareness, and getting out of the way of other teams, not risking themselves early on. G2 currently on our screens, as they are surrounded on 2 separate levels, but as the 4-man squad, they definitely have a good position here. NBS, being the solo player to their northeast, isn't going to be able to peek or peck away at them too much.
Yeah, Crimson still split up. I don't know if they can get back together. FaZe now rotating into zone. Vitality doing the same. We see some shots coming out of team number 3, Method. To team 7, M19. Similar locations. M19 actually holding down the same compound that they're in right now in game number 1. Similar circles. It's going to be kind of wild here to kind of watch almost a replay of game number 1 so far.
So far, so good, but this time around, getting lots of players still alive. First circle will be moving over as we have mentioned, and circle 2 is already getting those rotations coming forward. Method as a 4-man unit, fully together. They want to play this as the full unit, trying these members out, of course, and making sure to their own sanity all the way through. Team number 5 on their rotation. That's Team Random going past Borg's little love shack.
Max, you died on this rock in game number 1, man. This is exactly where you ate that grenade, my friend. He's got to be careful here. Borg in the same location that grenade came from. So Max now, you know, having a little bit of flashbacks, taking the Kar 98 shot, looking for the tight little angle onto Borg. Borg is now in a lot of trouble as they set up above him, because this is going to be a tough escape to get out, get in the Dacia, and get away, as they're going to hold this angle.
And here we go. Borg not going to be too favoured for this to go any further. A couple of nades could be going in to a compound. Not even a compound anymore. Oh my! The quick switch. I have to think that Menox was probably terrified for his own life there, as didn't expect Borg to run around quite so quickly. Some shots are being peppered down from a distance, and it looks like G2. Is that G2? Taking those shots down. We'll have to find out a little bit later on, as G2 are actually firing onto a different squad. Nookie here from Team 8. All engaged in compound warfare.
Dudge, that's unfortunate right there, because Nookie stole that kill right there, okay? So that's quick math from range. They should have been able to get that kill. They were in the little shack. Spray it down, get your points, and get in there. We actually talked about stealing kills a lot in NA last night, and it's something that a lot of these teams will try and do. They'll try and rob as many kills as possible, get as many points as possible. But in that situation, when you down someone right in front of you, just keep spraying and just kill them off and just get it over with. It's one player. Get your points. Don't risk losing them just by leaving the body outside because you think you don't need to clean it up. Now we have 3 Crimson players and 1 of FaZe. So this is a lot of pressure for Fuzz, as he is all alone in a 1v3 compound situation.
Exactly, and onto your point actually, when do you believe is actually the good time to finish off members? Because obviously we always have to think about, we may have to be thinking about a engage starting very soon, but obviously sometimes that is the correct time to finish off a player. Sometimes you do have to just love them and leave them, maybe let them get picked up. In a position like that, of course, I completely agree. Finishing that kill off would have been so much more valuable.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, right here, you know, he gets Borg down. Like, they're taking shots, and I understand that, right? So you're taking shots, but they just leave him out there, and he's crawling around for a little bit. And a second player actually came down and came into the shack. The second player on the way, you can shoot him and take him down. But it's one of those things where you don't claim the kill if you're worried that you're still under threat. If you're still under threat and you need the ammo and you need to be able to fight, then you hold on to it. You don't rush. You don't do anything like that. Here's the push onto Fuzzface right now as PUBG and Zimbabwe are moving in the building. Fuzzface all alone. Going to try and throw some frags out by the staircase. See if he can get a free knock, possibly.
Fuzzface under a lot of pressure currently. This is a difficult position for him to be in. Obviously having to 1 versus 3 up against a Crimson squad who have been doing so much work all the way throughout this evening. A couple of gunshots are coming down to us to secure an escape should it come into play. Of course, he is going to take a different window out, and he might have actually made this. No, he's going to be spraying into the window. That's taken down very early on. He does look to trade within this 1 versus 3. Nothing so far. Fuzzface just flanking around the corner. He's looking for the peaks. He could technically still clutch this. There's the nade going through.
Oh no, he gets
my God,
too.
He's taken a second. Now it's the 1 versus 1. He will finish off that first player, looking for the second, but he can't peek too heavily. He's going to have to take everything with a pinch of salt. Does present his back there. Now Lockwood's position.
No!
That's it. That's the 3rd player. 1 versus 3. Fuzzface. What a god.
Oh no, that is disaster for Crimson right there. That is brutal. We see them across here. Fuzz under so much pressure. He only gets hit with 1 bullet this entire fight. Out of control. He gets an easy knock on a P-Bus through the window, which is great. That's a job well done. From here on out, Crimson, so much pressure. That grenade so good. Off the door frame, catching Zimbabwe, and it's a 1v1. Gets right in the face. He teases a little bit to find out where the last player is. Pushes up face to face, sprays down Lockwood. Unbelievable job by Fuzzface.
Crimson, NBS, the only player left alive for the Crimson squad here. Fuzzface, it does look like he is the only member of FaZe still remaining, but with a highlight play like that, well, he's definitely earned himself quite a few. going forward. So he is outside of the circle, going to be driving in now and looking for survival for the rest of the game. As no, I am wrong. Haxete over on the west side of the circle as well. Crimson's MBS though, just the final remaining player there, and he's already under pressure as Anime Boys looking to have his number from a couple of the shots we saw going in his direction.
Yeah, pretty wild. NBS actually in the same location he was holding down as a solo in game number 1. So pretty huge for him. Here we are again with Anime Boys. Johnny Bones looking for some angles here. This is where G2 was. So the new zone, similar to game 1, but it is on the western side. So Severny still in for the most part. We're going to play over towards the shooting range area this time instead of the one lone road with no compounds.
Exactly. Let's move forward as Severny going to be lit up by 4 separate teams. The Anime Boys making their push in from the east, with NIP moving in through the north, Vitality over to the west, and I just sounded a little bit like a weatherman. Team 11, Shapeshift Gaming, only 1 player remaining here as a Sential with that MK14. Will we be seeing that highlight play we've been looking for? No.
Finally. It could happen. Oh, no. Oh, God. That was a bad start. All right, Essential, that was a good try. That was a good try. You know, it's a hollow sight. What do you expect, all right? It's a tough shot. It's a long-range shot, but hey, the MK, it can always happen. Essential all alone, too, on the southern end of Severny here, stuck in between 2 squads. Could be a little bit of pressure trying to escape in the future. We see Max there with Vega Squadron. Up north of him, Team Random, still with 4 alive, trying to move into zone as well.
Importantly, Maxazor from the Vega Squadron, team number 2, did get the spot there down onto Max 4747. Once again, these 2 players coming close to one another, so this could get very confusing. Team 5, Team Random, of course, were spotted out, so the information is there, and Vega Squadron, as a 2-player squad at the second, will be looking for. That's quite heavily over by shooting range now. The gunfire is starting fully. FaZe Haxete moving in from the west-hand side does take a couple of very strong hits from Moleman. He is able to make his way behind a tree. Fon and the rest of back from Zaki taking shots over onto the other side. That's going to be Vitality's Araxade to take down Blade Buyer, and this kill feed is lighting up. Haxete has been taken out, so we are seeing Fuzzface as the sole remaining member of FaZe at the moment in time.
That was a wild rotation with solos running around all over the place. We did lose NBS of Crimson, so that'll be the end of Crimson getting 13th in this game. It's a tough break for them after the Fuzzface fiasco there. The nice little 1v3 by him, but FaZe did lose Haxete coming from the west, so Fuzzface will be the final solo, and Novice Ignis lost Blade of Buyer, so if I'm not mistaken, there's 1 more player for them all the way to the west.
We're just looking over at Quick Math. Team number 8, they are also split into 2 duos at the second. Havaki and Reaper points down to the south of the circle, trying to gatekeep, whereas Alexis on Fire and Nookie, our snake from game number 2, manning a compound, keeping themselves safe. Fuzzface, on the other hand, he's not going to be keeping himself safe at all. He does have some meds available to him, currently over-medded out of his mind. I imagine they're going to be seeing him jittering from the caffeine before they see his position behind these tires. He's going to be gate-kept by Quick Math, team number 8, just to his his northeast here.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for Fuzz. I mean, he's in zone, which is nice, but that's pretty much all he's got going for him so far here in this situation, as he stares at the ground to try and keep his head down as much as possible. This is where he lives now.
He's had such an eventful game so far. If he's able to do this again, I think we might just need to end the stream early and just take a break from that. Havaki, of course, Quick Math are looking over into the fields as they have spotted team number 5, Team Random, moving through the fields. They do have some tree coverage. Now, turning back over, they haven't forgotten about Fuzzface, and Alexis on Fire hasn't forgotten about Team Random. Pony Rider losing his head there. Will just be a headache for the moment in time, as the rest of his squad will be able to pick him back up. But this split coming out from Quick Math is working complete wonders over in Severny. 4 squads now setting up their rotations.
Yeah, Team 8, Quick Math, they're holding down 2 positions of power in this one, and it's very unfortunate if you're team number 5, which is Team Random, because getting further into this zone is going to be so difficult. Look at where Soph is. He's sitting here behind a tree. Okay, no one can see him, but how do you get up and run from here? How do you move into zone? It's going to be a tough situation, and for a team sitting at 13th overall right now, it's very important. Get your points, try and solidify that spot. So they're going to try and do whatever they can here, and now that is going to be very difficult as they have to head right into Quick Math.
As does Fuzzface, and Quick Math employing the same strategy we saw from M19 at Team 7 earlier on in the day. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for them. It did provide them with an incredible position, finishing up, I believe it was second. Essential, the solo player over in Severny, now taken out of the game as it's Shiv to get that K98 shot down onto him. Play With Me and the rest of the anime boys still in their position. They do have a little bit of coverage coming through from the dip in the hill. Vitality with full cover alongside NIP. Who's going to rotate first?
This is important right here, where Anime Boys is. They're going to move. I've seen a team play this to perfection. They move multiple players forward, and they leave one at this ridge to fend off from this angle anyone trying to leave Severny. It is a great way to keep teams in Severny and not let them leave and move to the south. It's a tough location to hold, but if you can do it, you can save your team and get them into the final circle here, because it's going to, I mean, it's a tough trip for all of these teams. NIP, for Anime Boys, for Vitality, it is a tough road ahead getting to the south.
Exactly. Our top 10 has now become a top 9. Our 31 has become 30 just in that passage of speech alone. Mongman, Andy, and Fake from Team Method will be moving in onto the west side of this circle, just pushing as far forward as they can. Back from Zaki, our crazy team involving Dave the Crazy are going to be moving in from the northwest and looking down at this map now. Just look at all of these lines, look at the gunfire, look at the ammunition being sprayed all the way through this map. Alexis on fire, spotting Menox out in the field and spotting his shoes as well. There's a couple of toes missing from him now.
Yeah, we just finally saw the Fuzzface 1v3 on stream. So chat reaction, let me tell you, it's a great thing. But here we see Alexis on fire, looking for some peeks. This is a great hold in this circle. This combat is so good. The DP28 coming out and taking some shots up to the north, right onto Anime Boys. They moved into zone. They have a location, but they are under a lot of pressure. And look at the shots, just like you said, Dodge, every direction shooting at one another right now.
Exactly, and I'm glad you took a nice long passage of speech, because that gave me some time to tweet out about Fuzzface being a bit of a god. So, moving quickly further forward on this one, we are going to see the rotation still coming through. Vitality finding themselves a little love shack to call their home for now, as Shiv just left out in the cold. That's not really the position you want to be in.
He's putting damage out. Let's go, Shiv. He's making some plays. He will probably die to a tick here. Yeah, no, he will get shot at by Dykes, so Dykes takes him out, and they're going to try and move in back from Zarki under a lot of pressure. They did get one knocked, but he will be picked up by Dave the Crazy, so they will still be 4 strong moving into this game. 7 teams and 24 alive.
Exactly, and well, we are seeing these circles getting smaller and smaller, because that is the aim of the game. So with that, Team 8 currently the only team in the next circle. Everybody else will have to move in onto them, but with their duo-on-duo strategy, we'll have to see whether they are able to anchor themselves well enough to hold off against some of these full teams. One of those full teams, of course, is back from Zaki. They're going to go up against Method straight away. Molman going to get these initial shots down. That's going to be a lot of damage pushed all the way across back from Zaki, but no casualties just yet, as Molman looking for an angle, looking to find a place where he's able to shoot down this hill.
Yeah, this is going to be tough here. Method's going to try and hold this as much as they can, trying to keep the pressure out from back from Zark, and you see them all moving at the same time. All you can see is their upper halves as they're running across, peeking too much, all 4 looking up towards Method. Method is now going to have to concentrate on getting into the zone, as it is now pressing them. So they're immediately going to move to the south, try and rotate in, but it's team number 8 still Quick Math. They are center, and team 14, that's Vitality. They were able to get to the compound, so that's going to be a huge fight inside the new circle.
Taking a look at the kill feed, Master and Dave the Crazy from Anime Boys, and back from Zaki being taken out of this already. Master now fully out of the game. Team 8 starting to move their way up, but they have found that Vitality is neighboring them right away. With that, they're not going to be wanting those neighbors right inside this hood. That's one nade going to be taken down onto this one. No dice just at the second. Vitality really hold up here. 3 players going strong. Team 8 also having plenty available. And back from Zaki, not having a good time rotating in, being gate kept, even though they were the initial gatekeepers.
Yeah, all these teams in the Northwest just completely cannibalizing one another. Method back from Zarky, and Shapeshift still has one solo, just kind of chilling out, hiding in the corner there. But those teams just decimating each other. Both teams down to just 1 player each. Somehow, though, in the actual zone, Vitality and Anime Boys were both able to get to this compound, and they now hold it down. So, quick math, you're in a lot of trouble here because you only have 2 players up in this northern compound. Vitality has 3, and Anime Boys, if I'm not mistaken, also has 3.
When we see compound warfare quite like this, however, whoever moves first is generally going to be on the back foot. We've seen complete upsets from positions like this. Andy playing very strong. I should really just, stop. As soon as I say that, he gets headshot. Araxe will be taking him out of the game. And now we do have our top 3 established. That is going to be, as mentioned, Vitality for team number 14, team number 8, Quick Math, and team number 1, the Anime Boys. Team 8 having still this duo-on-duo split.
Yeah, this is weird. They have 2 players on either side of the zone, which is strange. The 2 from the south have the longest trip, and their trip is going to be rough. But they have Alexis on fire and Nookie here to kind of help them by putting shots on whoever's shooting at them. Vitality, though, this is a strange situation to be in. I don't know how you play this if you're team number 8 here.
We have seen the duo-on-duo work, but we haven't seen too much success with it after the late mid-game phase. Just when it's transferring into these later circles, very difficult to maneuver. We will be seeing the moves come through because everybody currently in this game has to move. Everybody needs to make their rotation, and we're going to be seeing this player count subside very quickly, very soon. Alexis on fire, not able to hit those shots just yet. Johnny Bones peeking around the other side, and Vitality realizing just how dire their situation is. Car rotations coming in. Havoki going to be going up to that wall of smoke, handily placed by his teammates. So that is a quick rotation coming into the zone, as they are the first founders on our next zone.
Yeah, that was a really good movement there by Havaki, cementing their spot in the zone. Now, the question is, what does Vitality do here from the north? Play With Me gets downed for Anime Boys as they're trying to move. Vitality's now going to push in onto them, if I'm not mistaken. Monkey does go down right away to Nookie, though. And then Shadow goes down, but is traded out by Alexis.
Alexis on fire with that DP28. Will have to take some shots down onto the other players. Looks like he is just going to be subsiding to his own fate. Araxe trying to pick Shadow up. This will keep them at a numbers advantage, should this work anytime soon. Alexis on fire, now forced to move. Circle coming through. We can see just through our own ESP here. Vitality are trying to gatekeep them very heavily. Anime Boys sustaining casualties as only 1 player left standing. Everybody else knocked out currently. Araxe going for the peak. Alexis on fire, taken down.
That's huge. Very important knock there for Vitality. Shadow and Araxe might be able to get into zone with a little bit of cover if Avaki doesn't see them. He does not have the angle yet. Shadow does die. Frag grenade actually getting the final kill. But that was it for Anime Boys on the northeastern side. They did not get in. So we will have a 2v1, but Havaki goes down. It's a 1v1 for Araxe.
Araxe now versus Reaper of Points. He's going to be trying to reap all of these points for his squad at the second. Team number 8 secure it! Araxe taken down as Reaper of Points. Quick, nifty headshots going down and securing the win for Quick Math. Havoki, Alexis on fire, Nookie, and, of course, Havoki.
That was quite a little flick there coming out at the end by Reaper of Points to get the 4th kill for him. And that is 14 kills coming out of Quick Math in their win. Second place, Team Vitality. And in third, the Anime Boys. Once again, a huge day for them so far.
Exactly. And, well, we are starting to get some consistency. And just as I said, we weren't in game number 2. Now we are starting to see patterns emerge. Vitality definitely warming up now, and they have come in and got themselves that second place. So let's just take a look over a couple of these highlights to quickly go back over the story of this game and look at how it unfolded for us. So first replay will be coming through from Menox as he goes through this corner. Borg taken down, not able to secure that though, as it was another player taking him out of the blue. And here it is, the moment of the game entirely. Fuzzface. What a god.
Yeah, Fuzzface 1v3 gets a quick knock on to P-Boss, and then a knock on Jambawi with the frag, pushes in, and is able to close M4 spray down Lockwood to get 3 kills in a 1v3 against 3 members of Crimson. And this is the circle moving forward. Severne taking out players coming in from the north all the way down to this little tiny one right by the intersection, the compound that was held down by Quick Math. And they tried to defend it the best they could, and it got completely out of control as Vitality moved up from the north.
And here is the late game scenario. Nookie not able to hold that corner as well as he may have hoped. Alexis on fire, also doing exactly the same, but peeking into 2. Vitality did sustain casualties, mostly provided by the zone, as Araxe the final remaining player. And here we have it, the final moment entirely. The 1 versus 2, it looked to be going in favor of Vitality, but Reaper of Points, instead of going for Resurrect, decided to go for the 1 versus 1. Flicks over straight onto their head.
That was, I have to say, that was just a clean little flick there at the end to ensure the victory for Quick Math. A very good game number 3, and Dudge, that leaves one more game for us.
And that means we're going to finally get to rest our voices, because we've had so much to shout about in these first 3 games.
It's
as you
exciting
say,
times, man. Exciting times here at PUBG Online for EU. A lot going on, a lot of good, high-caliber teams in this lobby. I mean, it's definitely been fun so far. So we do have one more game. We're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, game number 4 for EU right here on twitch.tv/PUBGOnline. And then there was the final game here today for PUBG Online for EU. Welcome back, everyone. Jabroni Mac here with Daniel Sandel himself.
Indeed, indeed.
I was worried about you there for a second.
Going over, we did actually just have the highlights. What a crazy game 3 we actually. So many highlight reels can be given. And wow, absolutely incredible work. Seems. I just wonder who's going to be taking it here. Game.
Dudge, I have to ask you, you're cutting out a little bit, my friend. I don't know what the issue is. Your mic a little low, so little connection issues possibly. So I'll give you a second there, see if we can possibly get it sorted. But yes, we are about to jump into the final game of today. Game number 1 was won by G2 Esports. Game number 2 by the Anime Boys. And game number 3 by Quick Math in spectacular flick fashion. Coming out a reaper of points there against Vitality, who almost were able to clutch it out, which would have been wild because it was Oraxe. People are trying to correct me. It is just not my, like, being someone from New Jersey, I'm going to say Oraxe 1,000% of the time. It is just so difficult to not.
Accents are a difficult thing as well, and you guys have such a variation over there in NA, so, I mean, it's not really something, we do have our own variation, but I guess it's more for the ear. I couldn't tell you what a New Jersey accent is, personally. But this is our playing path for this game round. We're going from 5 o'clock all the way up to around about the 12 o'clock position as our final point. It's going to be very nice for FaZe and Vitality on the Milta side. Anime Boys taking the same start once again. Also, Vega Squadron heading over to Nova Rep Neuer. NIP heading to the east alongside many of our teams, including Method. And back from Zaki, who have been really surprising me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Back from Zargi has been looking really good in a lot of the fights they've gotten into. We haven't seen them come out with a win yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull that off in game number 4 here. They've been just moving around and shooting so well and looking so confident. It's a great team to keep an eye on. Velen, Wacko, Fantasy, and Steven of G2 heading all the way in the northwest, north of George, and potentially a little Zarky drop is there. Uncontested this time as the wonderful Team Quick Math winners of game number 3. Now, here's what's important, all right? This is what we need to talk about, Dutch. Quick Math got a 3rd place and a 1st place coming out of Zarky. And I think that we need to realize that Zarky 100% confirmed the best loot on the map.
I'm sure you're still going to be pretty contested on that one. I think a lot of people definitely not preferring that. Such a difficult place, and Pony Rider up there on the roof spotting Method as they just pass past on their initial rotations. Now, as you say with Zaki, what you said this earlier on in the show as well. One of the biggest difficulties is if you don't have a circle which is favoring you, it is so difficult to get out of, especially in the differences of elevation in that area. Not actually a place that I know very well because I'd never go there.
Well, here's the thing, Dutch. This is what I've actually talked about a few times on desks, and just when I'm playing with people, we have this conversation every now and then where teams need to, a lot of the teams, when you get to high-level competitive PUBG, they choose a looting spot. They come up with their location. You know, Method for the longest time was Pachinki every time. Vitality, they go to Milta. That's what they do. They go to Milta. FaZe, they go to Milta Power. There's teams that go to the same location over and over and over and over. That's just the way they play. And based on the circle, there's different expectations, you should say. Right, where, you know, when FaZe gets a circle and Milta Power, they're like, no, we're winning. That's what we're doing. Like, that is our expectation. We don't accept, you know, getting 5th there. We don't want to, like, that's a failure, right? But then on the other hand, if you're Zarky and you have a military zone, your expectation there isn't like, oh, we're going to get 3rd place with a couple kills. Like that's a job well done. That's a great job, and that's making something out of nothing. And that's what you need to do to be that top-level team. Even bad situations, bad circles for you, you still need to pull those into top 5s. You need to get kills. You need to play as though those are games that are very important for you to get those extra points.
For sure, and we've been speaking about this from the very early games within the scene as well. Lucky enough to have been here since pretty much the beginning of PUBG Online, and some of the conversations we had when the meta was developing, very different from the ones we have now. Just most of the things that we speak about or spoke about then are now very much taken for granted. One of those things, of course, is just when it comes to your looting areas, your looting phase, how to optimize that, how to find yourself the best possible position whilst putting yourself in the least possible risk. And that's what these teams have found themselves doing. Now, one of the lowest possible risks, if you're in the same lobby as FaZe, is going anywhere aside from Milta.
Right.
Much in the same way as when we saw Method in their old lineup, always used to go Pachinki. We did get some incredible fights coming out from teams who are just trying to contest them in that area, but in the early game, it's just not really worth it. Getting those early game traits, you lose out.
100%, and that's something that's kind of been added to PUBG Online here for split number 1, because we used to do showdown contenders, and it was 20 teams per lobby, and those teams would be the same exact teams every single time they played every week. We changed that up, where now there's 40 teams and only 16 teams, or in this case 14 teams, per lobby, and it rotates. So you're never playing against the same teams. You're never playing in the same lobby. So all of those looting phases are researched on who is in our lobby today, who are we playing in, who drops here, who drops here, who drops there. And you'll see teams like will know that if FaZe isn't in the lobby, we're going to drop Melta Power.
Exactly. And we are going to be getting our first engagement here in the early game now, over in Budget Venice, as my favorite call-out of the maps, aside from Chopsticks, actually, just
I love Chopsticks, man.
Chopsticks is the best. Now, we have Shapeshift Gaming, team number 11, going up against team 5, team Random, as Max 4747 is going to be just trying to find any of these shots on that long flank. Team 5 have just rolled up to this area, but they are, as the newcomers, actually on the front foot forward. Arizona hearing those footsteps down below him. Not sure if his position has been compromised just yet, but we are seeing these peeks through the window. This could get very deadly if Max isn't going to be careful with his own position.
Yeah, this is a hairy thing. You're right next to one another, building to building. Everyone's being patient, peeking the windows time and time again. And seeing a frag come out. You got to be careful with the frags when you're throwing it in building, because if you peek and you're downed, you will drop it. And that is a dangerous situation to be in.
One drop coming down, as that's going to be Arizona. Stuff able to claim that kill. The peek coming in, using the door as the cover. Very smart. Max 4747 trying to bait out anything he can. Only showing a shoulder, but Mori Z with some incredible trigger discipline on this staircase. There, the spot is going to be made. That is exactly what Max needed to know. Now, of course, we are going to be seeing Mori Z reposition himself. The shoulder did present itself for a split second. Didn't take those shots, so now position is supposed to be known, but he has to keep the team on their feet to not give anything away. The push now coming in from 2 players, however. Here it is, onto the staircase. Max looking for that information, peeking the head up there. The position is known. Mori Z able to trade out backwards, does jump out of the window as he has lost his helmet. Now going to decide to get out of dodge before going into Stoff and Menox. Not the most fortunate passage of play coming in from him, but very well played from a defensive position. We got to see so many tactical advantages there in his favor coming from a defensive player.
Yeah, that was a great job there by Stoff, just holding that angle on the window. He knew, okay, one of our players got down. He's going to try and escape. He jumped the window, tried to get away. Stoff just held exactly where he was, saw him, and was able to get the down. They'll get the res, no problem, and it's team number 11, Shapeshift Gaming, that is taking the early losses in game number 4.
And that's a good way to start this game off, and I love passages of play like that. We get to see just all of the levels of decision-making that these players make. And with that, even though that didn't really work out in the defensive player's favor, it was so close. There was one down which did come in, and perhaps if that was a 1 versus 2, and perhaps if Stoff and Menox weren't in the receiving position, then we could have seen the 1 versus 2 come out, and that would have been a defensive win.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that's very important. You know, if you are alone and you're not, or even in that situation, a 2v4 or a 2v3, if you're at a disadvantage in numbers, it is a huge problem. Because things just like that, where Stoff was just because there was an extra player, it's like, you're going to hold that angle. So when he jumps out, he can't punish us. We cannot get punished by a player escaping or moving on a different angle. Just hold this and we'll keep it safe.
Exactly, holding the angles, something many of these players are going to be familiar with, perhaps with their competitive history. Seeing FaZe on the east side here, that's going to be Crimson, 2 people inside that car. Welcoming arms of Jempty, able to hit a couple of those shots up onto the hill into the UAZ. The rest of his team aren't going to be backing him up just yet. He has found some real estate within the zone, however.
This is going to be a tough situation as we see Crimson cruising around to the east towards the outside of the circle. Going to go for a little bit of a rotate here, or maybe even just stop down here and just kind of get themselves together before moving further in the zone. FaZe on the same rotation they always do, up to the north on the northern circle. They'll try and rotate in from the northeast, possibly even going around Severny if the zone does go to the west. We'll have to see how they play this one. They're going to hold down the gas station for now, safely in the circle. Very patient. It's interesting to see how they play a circle that's not in their favor, when they kind of move in and they're not over-aggressive and getting dead center.
One thing not in anyone's favor, Method, Andy being taken down onto the ground very early on, and we can already see, is Andy alive? No. Currently not, as Molman and X-Chris going to find themselves in the tunnels just over to the northeast of G2 currently. G2 able to finalize that kill onto Andy and inflict some casualties onto Method. However, rest of Method starting to move through now. Fake on the wide rotation, presenting himself and presenting a target. Fantasy just running out of bullets and not able to secure this one just yet. The UAZ is going to be taking him to safety.
That is the #1 question asked in the PUBG Online chat. Is Andy alive? And unfortunately, this time, no, was taken out early by G2. And that's a little bit of a standoff here that we're going to have as Method gets completely assembled. All 3 members now together down in the tunnel here. It's a tough spot to be in. Never want to get locked in. Dangerous, scary location for Method right now.
A couple of weeks ago, we did actually get to see a team get fully locked into the tunnels, and it's brutal. There's just nothing
it's
you
so
can do.
sad. It's just like, I mean, it's unbelievable. So just in case anybody doesn't know, if there is a team down in the tunnel, you can put a UAZ in the door and blow it up, and they cannot get out because you can't push it, you can't move it, you can't do anything. They're just stuck in there for eternity. So once the circle does move, they will die to zone. So we did have that happen a few weeks ago. A lot of the teams now actually will park their own vehicles in front of the door in a way that allows them to get out, and that forces it so you can't actually get in with another one. So trying to use some extra strategy. As we have Novice Ignis here, and I see 3, I don't see 4. Lynn still alive, died apparently to a little bug with the motorcycle. Bootless also dying to a bug with the motorcycle in game #3. So tough break for them, but all 4 alive here in game #4 as they'll head on the western bridge of Georgia Bowl up north and continue into zone.
Exactly, and our teams are making their early rotations over. NIP at the start of the game weren't particularly grouped up at all. Not anywhere near in the slightest. They were spread out all the way across the map. Now have themselves a very central position to work with going into the mid-game. Team #7 also looking to do something fairly similar as they are all swarming into this compound.
Is this their favorite spot on the map for M19? This is the 3rd game today that M19 has held. Not these buildings that we're looking at right here, but if you turn around the other way, they were in the other, that right there. This is the 3rd time in 3 different games that team #7, which is M19, has been in this exact building. It's their favorite spot.
In all fairness, there's only 1 game this evening where this area hasn't been in the circle.
True, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Taking a look, FaZe also, Fuzzface, possibly my MVP from game #3, not able to take it through to a victory, able to secure himself an early kill into the game as well. Going to be 49 players now left alive as Crimson take 1 casualty, and Fuzzface just proves that he can also use DP. He can use anything he wants. This guy is he's a beast.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. NIP actually dead center with all 4 members together. So interesting to see the early rotation coming out of them, grabbing a compound right away. NIP, Borg, and X will hold down the hill there. This is a great compound. The biggest threat is that hill to the south as they're taking some shots over towards Method right now. Molman taking a lot of damage, but possibly will escape. It looks like they did get to the compound, and they will be okay.
NIP able to land quite a few of those, but nothing which is going to be finalizing the kills so far. Method definitely had to split apart a couple of meters, 100 meters away from one another as a result of that. Just going to be a little more than a pain in the backside at the second phase, getting themselves a compound within the next zone. That's going to be extra boon for them. 2 players currently stacked alongside 2 players, a strategy we're seeing evolve more and more recently as the duo-on-duo action splitting the squad in half and, you know, covering double the area almost.
Yeah, quick math using that in our last game to win. So a very important strategy, very good one, and a very nice spot for FaZe to be in.
Method still left out to dry, no compound available for them. Next to NIP, Vitality also going to be receiving a few shots from 2 separate angles here. Their position is compromised and Moleman will be looking for some of those as well. This position for Method is actually pretty good when we do take a look at it. 4 walls around them, plenty of coverage, plenty of sight lines going out into all areas of the map. The only side that really could be a difficulty is up to the north, where they are going to be facing up to a hill.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting the way this works out, because where you see NIP in the center is actually the highest point in the center of this map, so it's uphill in almost every direction to get there. So it's a little bit of a king of a hill potential endgame, which creates for a very interesting endgame, as there's a huge lack of information for a lot of these squads moving up.
Exactly, and information, the aim of the game at this stage. We are still in the mid-game. If you do get the fights, one of the biggest focuses is just eliminating the teams around you to secure your own rotation, but information, priority number 1, knowing where teams are around you so you can further inform your own decisions. As we know, decision-making, the aim of the game, and the thing that's going to secure you all of your chicken dinners. Haxete trying to get a couple of the shots into the direction where he does know some players are, and that's the Anime Boys just outside Severny.
Oh, nice centralized circle coming up as well. So NIP feeling pretty good. Vitality as well, and Method. 3 big names holding down the center of this one. Up to their northwest, you see team number 8. That's quick math. A 3rd and a 1st coming out of them so far today. So a big day, and still with 2 players in Severny, which is kind of strange.
Not making that rotation just yet. Reaper of Points, our kill-scoring chicken dinner earning man from game number 3, will be just trying to make his way out, gaining as much information. He does hear 1 shot, so that will inform his decision. Where can he move and how can he move with his own duo here currently? Do have players down in the northwest side, the current circle, outside of shooting ranges. Vitality also trying to secure their own dominance around the area they have secured for themselves.
And look at this new 4X. Once again, we did have a little bit of a patch, a little upgrade to the 4X, the way they work. You see it looks a little bit different, taking some shots. The full auto, this is kind of the new meta in the recent months that has developed in high-level competitive PUBG. Everyone rocking the 4Xs on the Scars, on the M4s, on even the AKs. I've seen them use with an 8X and just rocking full auto spray downs on a lot of these players. And it's really incredible, really difficult to control. But when you're at the highest tier, it makes for some wild, wild plays to put out an insane amount of damage at a very long distance.
The first time I actually got to see that was also a Twitter video from Andy Pyro. Not currently alive, just to let you guys in chat know once again, but it was with the 8-time AK. It was about 100 meters distance, and he just sprayed down and around 3 separate people. Beautiful play. Tried to replicate the same thing myself. Did not happen in the slightest. These guys are professionals for a reason. Now, another divisive gun in play at the second. Car 98K in the hands of Jempty. He's going to be looking to the north and trying to secure some of these kills himself. Of course, Fuzzface with the M4 currently regarded as the strongest weapon in the game is going to be just taking shots down on the vehicle, securing himself 1 kill, and further gatekeeping the Anime Boys outside of the circle.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot for FaZe here as they're going to move up the hill. The hill will have a lot of cover once you start getting towards the top, but it is a bit of a trip on the way. A lot of teams will be moving, and this is what you see as you're moving up. That lack of information, you are blocked, you are line of sighted from so many different things, and that's what makes it so difficult. A lot of these teams will get very close together before they even notice. Team number 1, Anime Boys, it is going to be quite a trip for them trying to get up this hill, especially past phase.
Definitely the shooting range as well. When you're when you come into the game, I thought that this was one of the best spots in the game when I started playing, and later on, it's just bloody awful. There's so many sightlines going into your position later on that it's very difficult to fortify anywhere for yourself. And currently we're looking at Team 4, back from Zaki, who have introduced quite a lot of chaos into the games we have had so far this evening. They have clear sightlines down onto shooting range. They can take shots should they want to. They are also surrounded. They have the information from their audio cues that there are at least 2 squads close by.
Yep, NIP directly to their south right now, still center circle. So this one's going to close. It will pop, and this is going to be where we start losing a lot of the squads on this next rotation. Right now, right in front of us, though, we're about to have a nice little team fight.
Pony Rider pushing forward, able to find one player just behind that tree. Scargun taken down very first phase. MXCY will be taking one down further off screen. Team 9, Team 5 taking a look at this. Team Random just shooting down onto Novus Ignis. Novus Ignis still on the back foot here, and Lin next to be downed onto the floor. Blade Buyer crawling as much as he can, but he's not going to be going anywhere, and it's Bootless at a very long way away. Breath of Wind will be taking him out of the game, but he does have a rock to secure himself at the second. One more bullet is going to be taking him out, and there it is. That's team number 13, or team placed 13, taken out of the game. G2 to finish that one off.
Yeah, unfortunate for Novice Ignis there. They ran right into team number 5, Team Random, right on top of one another. Tough spot to be in. Just immediately the gunshots started ringing out. Novice Ignis on the losing end of that fight will end in 13th. G2, though, taking some shots up north now. A little bit of punishment towards Team Random, trying to push that fight, wrapping around the western side. And this is going to be an interesting circle. I mean, we're just kind of nearly center once again. So the same 3 teams, NIP, Method, Vitality, all feeling pretty good about their location. FaZe immediately just rolling in, no problem.
And here it is, FaZe on the rotation once again, the full 4-man squad lining up. And they are not going to be pushing in reckless abandon into Team 3 Method at the second. They have the compound in front of them, and they're just going to look for information to start this off.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what you want to do. Get in the zone, get a location, and figure out what's going on around you as fast as possible. That's what FaZe is doing. As we see, Alexis on fire going down. Maxer with a little bit of a push now up towards Reaper of points, who we see on the backside of this hill.
Nade is going to be coming up, but I don't think it's going to reach quite that far. We've seen some incredible arms for throwing inside this game this evening, but not quite good enough for that. Just drawing your attention to the mini-map.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, do you see this mini-map? It's about to get a little out of control. The play-by-play action as a lot of teams getting very close. Baxter does go down to Master. Team number 1, Anime Boys, trying to hold down their spot in the zone, trying to creep in, but they're under pressure from the southeast as well. Way too many players in way too small of an area here. 12 teams, still 39 alive.
One deep breath is going to be taking me until the end of this game from the looks of it at the second. The Anime Boys are still inside combat. 54th taken down onto the ground. There's one person still left, going to be peeking around the outside of that tree, forcing Master back into a defensive position. Kemba 7 could be looking for it. Vampire Games next to fall. That's going to leave Vega Squadron with only 1 member left standing. He's going to be in a very pressured position. Look at that, his bleeding out teammates on that mini-map for Squiggly lines going to be presenting themselves very soon, and Kemba running for the hills, or at least the bottom of the hills, does find himself Vampire Game, but Anime Boys now on the push.
Yeah, I'm surprised right now that he's committed to this res here. I thought he was just going to keep running and try and sneak in. Did get the res off with Vampire, but now they do have the Anime Boys right on top of them. I'm assuming they're going to be spotted any second. No! The hill's going to help them out here. They're going to be able to sneak in.
Vega Squadron able to recover just by the skin of their teeth. Johnny Bones still trying to scout these players out. He does have a peek over the top of the hill where he could get a spot on them. Team 8 Quick Math also have a solo player within the area. Kemba and Vampire now back to full health as Reaper of points and the rest of Squad 8 are in, sorry, the rest of the anime boys at least, are actually in a very decent position. Team 8, quick math, as I was alluding to, have a solo player in the next circle, but as we look to the north phase, currently engaged in a firefight alongside back from Zaki. NIP could play spoiler to this, but on the north side, these teams have to wipe one another to gain an entrance in at the second. MXEY has an idea of where these players are, but he cannot get through the wall of cars that's been presented by back from Zaki.
The wall of cars, indeed. Back from Zaki, they're going to have to try and move south. They're barely in the zone. I don't think NIP has too much of a shot on them yet. FaZe is the bigger issue, the bigger problem right now. But FaZe needs to move. 10 seconds away from this exact moment, the zone is going to be at their back doing a lot of damage. They have to move south, and Method is going to be in the way of FaZe. So this is going to get very stressful here in the north.
FaZe, of course, did have the spot on Method earlier, so they have identified that their only entrance in is to take back from Zaki out of the game and use their entrance. Over on the west side now, we do have Team 8 being sandwiched in between two squads. Master is pushing forward now, but NIP are going to be taking shots on the outside of this, and they will be playing spoiler, trying to pepper as many through. Kemba 7 still on the floor, still alive, still looking for an entrance in, but he is on the ground. And can he belly slide over in there quick enough? He's going to be rubbing his nipples to the ground. Play with me is going to be taken out of the game. And there it is. There is one more player left for this squad.
That was a nice way to slip the word nipple into the cast today, Dutch. Now, as we keep going, FaZe does lose Gent. He does go down to Zenta. They're going to have to try and push onto this. The full aggro here, they're just like, we're just going to run at you and fight and see what happens. So FaZe, they do have rock cover. They're in a single fire line. They're pushing up. The shots go out onto Dykes. Does take a little bit of damage, but he will stay up. Frags now coming out from Mixie, trying to get the kill. Oh, that was a nice little frag.
This is so difficult now because this is now the slow side of the circle. FaZe pushing under pressure. They have the pressure of the blue zone on them. They also have pressure of NIP to the south. This lip of the hill is their only entrance forward. Vitality are going to be also engaging themselves in the combat too. Deix able to push himself forward and try to get himself closer to his teammates once again. MXEY pushing back, pushing forward, trying to find the entrance. Back and forth as the name of the game at the second, as MXEY looking for these shots now.
Absolutely, he's trying to creep up. They're so close to one another, less than 50 meters away. Dave the Crazy right behind the tree. He's going to try and move up. It's kind of interesting. He's moving around, no cover, just kind of peeking it. They're being the aggressors here, forcing them to peek, and the down does come out on Dave the Crazy.
The return fire from Mixie is incredible there. Such a quick peek going down. Fuzzface will be put very low, but he's able to take the help from Haxete and get another down here. Dave the Crazy looks like he is going to be finished off as he's nowhere near Zenta. Zenta having to peek into 3 now, and peeking into FaZe is not going to go well. FaZe recovering incredibly well, wiping the squad, taking their entrance, and they are going to be taking this entire north side. Next contenders will be Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, this is quite a lineup right now. FaZe, Vitality, Method, NIP, and if I'm not mistaken, team number 5 right there, Team Random. Those are your final 5 teams. None of them less than 3 right now.
This is absolutely incredible here. We're going to get team on team on team on team on team action as 17 players remain currently into this one. This is going to be Team Random on your screens currently, looking for their first entrance within the circle. West side fairly clear for them. They do have a lip of hill available, but that will leave them exposed to their south. These 2 crates could also be providing cover within the circle. NIP losing their first member as Max 47-47 taking Hollywood entirely out of this game. Team 12, Ninjas in Pajamas, sustaining casualties once again. Down to the 3-man squad. We're looking now over to the north side. FaZe and Vitality just got themselves in open combat. That was a wipe.
They just wiped Method in seconds there. Both of those teams with FaZe pushing on them with a little help from Vitality. Method just clean off the map right away. FaZe just keeps moving, keeps killing, being the aggressors, not being forced to defend themselves or being pushed against the blue. They're getting into zone as soon as they can. They're using the cover that they have, and they're putting the pressure on the other teams here.
formerly AAA, now Vitality, going up against FaZe. Two teams widely recognized as possibly top 3 in the world at the second. We're only missing Liquid for this equation to really work this out. They're going to go up against one another in combat, so keep your eyes open. Mixie certainly is as well. As he's looking down this hill, they realize that there is a squad down there. It's just a question of how many have they spotted? What information do they have to work with? Over on the west side, peppering shots going down as well. This is so difficult. Action on both sides. We can draw a dead center line down the middle, and we'd have 2 arenas going on right now.
Yeah, this is great. FaZe taking on Vitality in the East. A 3v4 in Vitality's favor. And then on the western side, we do have Team number 5, Team Random, and Team number 12, NIP. NIP has the compound. It is no longer safe. They need to move east. Right in their way is FaZe. So that is going to be a fight that develops. And look at this, Team number 5, Team Random. They're going to rotate down a little bit, back off, be patient. They're on top of the hill. They have height on everyone else.
I feel like the only thing we can really do here is just stay aerial as this circle is progressing itself forward. Team Random having the slow side of the circle alongside Ninjas in Pajamas. They're going to both have to move into FaZe and Vitality. That puts pressure down onto these 2 squads on the east side to finish each other off as quickly as possible, because they recognize that 2 squads will be pushing on them very soon. NIP's X going up against Max, just engaged in the peak battle at the second, but Pony Rider also going to try and put his luck in, but his ticket has been stamped. He's put down onto the floor very quickly. Max 47-47. Also going to be pushed on now. X putting this up the hill. That's gonna be beautiful. Headshot instantly down onto him. Menox, the last remaining player here. We could have 3 giants in the industry going up against one another in the top 3, and that is going to be it for Team Random.
I have to say once again, that is some wild spectating when you're watching Sweater running in there. Just moving around all over the place. Looking left, right, up, down, over and over again. It's hard to keep
like
up.
A cheat code.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's putting a cheat code in every time he's running somewhere. It's out of control. But Vitality and FaZe still up. NIP, the 3rd team to the west. FaZe under a lot of pressure. Vitality has the most amount of space. However, they have just had Shadow knocked, and they are an uphill battle for them. So that's going to be a really tough run.
This is beautiful play from Vitality. Vitality have stalled out this engage as long as possible, recognizing the situation at hand. The situation is entailing one of the teams from the west, the winning team from the west, having to push over. With Vitality being the southernmost team currently, the likelihood is that team that wins over on the west will push into FaZe. Beautiful map play. And this 3 giants of the industry going up against one another. This is entertainment.
All right, Dudge, who wins? Come on, call it. Pick somebody.
I can't cast a curse this one, I'm afraid. Borg is going to not be winning this one out as he's taken down onto the ground very quickly. Fuzzface will be taking him out of the game entirely. Sweater now manning the 2-man team of Ninjas in Pajamas. That circle is going to land onto Vitality. Shiv taken down very first, but Haxete also traded out. Deaths from each side so far. Vitality as a 3-man squad definitely have the advantage here as they are recognizing this. They're pushing this forward. They're looking for what they can. Mixie has been able to medicate himself, but could Araxe be walking into danger? He's walking into the sandwich, but that's going to be FaZe also losing 2 members. Pressure from all fronts. X will be taking those shots, will be securing the down, and will be securing the kill. FaZe now in such a difficult scenario.
This is literally a 3-way fight until right now, as FaZe is completely killed off. So Vitality wins that one, but now it's an NIP still with 2 up, so it's a 2v3. Vitality's favor. They do have zone. X is going to snake his way into this one. Did take out Araxe, so, oh god, this is stressful.
This is so difficult. All of the teams have recognized, or at least the final 4 teams recognized just what sort of circle we are going to be having here. Team 14 pushing up from the north into Ninjas in Pajamas, but Sweater, he's going to be forced into a less than optimal position as puts the gun away. He's belly crawling all the way across. He's going to have to stand up very soon, and that's going to put him straight into the gunfire of Monkey, leaving X in a very difficult scenario, almost impossible scenario, but he's going to be getting the first of this 1 versus 3. We've seen a 1v3 before, but not in a scenario like this. Monkey is going to be next. Will he be falling into this one? His presence has been made known, and that's X taken out of the fight. That's Vitality securing the final kill of the game and taking the final chicken dinner of the evening.
I have to say, Dudge, I have to say, whew. First of all, that's an intense final circle. Second of all, NIP went center. They played for a compound. They stuck together. No long rotate. No wild, strategy coming into this one. They played a game. They got center. They got second. They got 6 kills. I love it. I love the way they played this one. I felt really good about it, and I think that was great. But, I mean, come on. Vitality, NIP, and FaZe, your final 3? I mean, come on.
You can't ask for more. In terms of fan service as well, we always get a lot of Method fans in the chat. Method securing themselves a top 5 finish as well. Bear in mind, it may not be the chicken dinner that everybody is always wanting, but the top 5 finishes go so huge.
Look at the kills on Team Random. I didn't even realize that. That is 17 kills and a 4th place on Team Random.
Yep.
Wow. Team Random looking so good today.
That's incredible work. I mean, Menox just playing out of his mind, picking up 7 kills for himself alone. Fantastic work. Now we are going to quickly hop into our replays before we close this off, taking a look over at Georgia Pole at the second. As we go back over to Venice, and that's going to be more easy, able to find himself the first down before walking into the trap set by the squad just on the outside here. This is Team Random, one of their earlier kills. Beautiful work.
Yeah, absolutely. G2 Fantasy taking some shots. This is the loss of Andy Pyro early in the game. Method lost 1, but we're able to turn that into a 5th place. They were in a tight spot there, hiding below. Jempty with the K98, looking for some frags through the UAZ. We see standing going down. And then this is the circle that we're working with. So shooting range up in the north, little river down in the south. And unfortunately, if you're Novice Ignis, this is a rough and very fast team fight that you were not ready for. As Team Random pushed down right on top of them. Kind of rolled over and bootless, the last one alive. Trying to med, but it was G2 Steven finishing off Novice Ignis.
And even when we're taking a look at the maps in the replays, we're seeing Team Random just muscling their way through continuously. Master able to get 1 down into this one. Mixie now on the outside. That is this engage was onto back from Zaki, and it was a beautiful recovery to gain an entrance into the final circle.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we see Hexede taking some shots. This was a very bold push by FaZe as they move forward onto back from Zarki, and I think that was very huge in their win. Max with a nice down and kill onto Hollywood there, waiting for the standstill, getting the instant headshot, which is huge for Team Random as they try to take this fight with NIP, but a great push by X and a great AK shot to the face helps put Team Random down as Sweater finishes off the final one. And those are your final 3 teams, NIP, Vitality, and FaZe. And unfortunately for FaZe, they were the first of these 3 to be eliminated.
We did also get to see Sweater's incredibly high in-game sensitivity as well, just absolutely able to flick all the way around. Valerie punched a wall next to him with a flick that large. X here able to down Shiv as they're all pushing forwards. Vitality looked to be on the back foot here. We see that's FaZe taken out of the game, and that's going to be also the Anime Boys taken out. I'm sorry, I've completely lost it there. Long nights. This has been an incredible night.
Hey, long, violent night of PUBG, though, Dutch. It was a good one. Tons of highlights. It was just one of those days where you have the highlight reel plays just over and over again. We had Fuzzface going through huge. We had Pony Rider in game number 1 with an incredible 2 bajillion IQ play to win a massive team fight, and he was at a 3v1 disadvantage at the start of it. His team was able to pull that off just by him delaying, moving around, juking and jiving through. Just great stuff. We saw Menox and a few others fragging out all over the place. It was definitely a big day for a lot of these players, a lot of awesome highlights, and a great time. So I mean, I enjoyed you casting with me.
I'm glad to see you back on the cast, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure, and with a finish like that, I don't think I could have asked for a better end to my Monday. and of course it's going to be coming up to about 10 o'clock here for me. So you guys still have NA to come later on.
Yes, we do. So we do have NA coming up. I don't even know what time it is. I haven't been outside in like 3 hours. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. All right, so it's 5 o'clock. So in 2 hours' time right here on twitch.tv/PUBGOnline, we will have NA playing 4 games. In that situation, I will be on the desk with my friend Mr. Mustache Dave, and we'll be joined by 17 of Optic Gaming tonight. So it should be a lot of fun, shenanigans going on there, and 4 fantastic games. NA is getting a little heated. You know, we got a lot of squads trying to make the late push over there to get into Showdown. So a lot of exciting stuff, exciting times in the world of online PUBG.
Exactly, and well, I think I'm pretty much done for this one. I need to get myself some sleep, so I'm going to give this one over to yourself, my man, to close out before you open up later on.
Okay, well, thank you, every viewer, every player, every moderator for being here today for EU. It was a lot of fun. Sifl and Sap, of course, on all the production. Mr. Daniel Sandel, a.k.a. Dudge, for joining me on the cast. My name is Running Back, and have an amazing 2 hours, and I will see you all for NA.
commit to a path, I guess you were on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, a space, the grace that takes you home. You don't have to tell me once or twice, wonder why we're here. We just gotta stop the flood before we lose it all and drown from fear. But let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I survived through rainstorms, sandstorms. I fought the war, now it's time to go home. Let me tell you, I'm ready to fly.